写给山外人的象形文，它记录了4394种动植物的繁荣、生长和更迭。生命因血而生，万物因血而有。你喝到的是长白山松软雪花的味道，长白雪，天然雪山矿泉水。
We are excellence. We are innovation. We are passion. No, we don't just sell pools. We are definitely solution providers. This is our challenge. Make the difference together.
This is Melbourne, voted the world's most livable city 7 times in the past decade. The second largest city in Australia, renowned for its easygoing yet sophisticated lifestyle, with claims to be one of the great sporting cities of the world. A city that's hosted the Olympic Games, Grand Slam tennis, top-class football codes to suit all tastes, and Formula One motor racing. This is Albert Park, the venue, the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, home to the 16th FINA World Short Course Swimming Championships. I'm Mike McCann. With me is Bobby Hurley, former world champion and world record holder in the 50 metres backstroke. Welcome, Bobby. What a setting this is for more World Championship action.
Thank you, Mike, and welcome to Melbourne. It's been a long time since we've seen world-class international swimming come here to the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, but you can see the crowds come, the swimmers have arrived, and we're getting ready for our first morning of heats, the first of 6 days, and lots of stars and big names in the pool, world champions and Olympic record holders nonetheless, and I really can't wait to sit back and watch all the action.
Yes, we've been treated to World Championship swimming, Budapest not so long ago. This is what is ahead of us over the next 3 hours or so. And we start with the women's 400 metres freestyle. Heats, of course, are all we have this morning. We will lead into a big night this evening with 6 finals and 4 semi-finals as well. The shorter distances go through the semi-final stage, so that includes the women's 50 butterfly and the men's 50 butterfly here. We'll also have 2 heats of the 1500 metres freestyle. For men, that's the slowest heats. The fastest heat will be this evening. That's effectively a straight-out final. So much to look forward to. As I mentioned, we had World Long Course Championships in Budapest just 5 months ago, and traditionally the 25-metre championships have been every 2 years. But now, as a catch-up to COVID, we're back again, having held the last championships in Abu Dhabi. There are the officials who will be overseeing the competition here. It's playing such an important role. And there are the names of the people who are involved. So a big moment, not just for the swimmers, but of course for the officials as well. So much to look forward to, Bobby. As I mentioned, World Short Course Championships 12 months ago in Abu Dhabi, and now they have come here to Melbourne. Of course, before it all happens, a lot of action in the warm-up pool.
Yeah, that's it. The Australian team didn't send their swimmers to Abu Dhabi last year, 12 months ago, to compete at the World Championships. So we see the Australian team return to action in front of their home fans as well. And Lani Pallister, just on screen earlier, talking to her coach, Michael Bowl. Right. She's the second fastest seed in the women's 400 freestyle today. There she is warming up in the pool, racing the freestyle. And she'll be the one to beat in the 400, 800 and 1500 freestyle. Her alongside Li Bingji from China, who is on the heat sheet this morning, but rumoured to have withdrawn due to sickness. So it'll be interesting to see if the world record holder Li lines up this morning to participate in her heat. And always a strong American team competing at any international meet of this level. And their women's team will really challenge the Australian women when it comes to the medal tally.
The Australians here with a strong complement. Kaylee McEwen, Emma McKeon, Kyle Chalmers, but they'll have a lot on their hands against swimmers from around 160 countries. The women's 400 metres freestyle, Li Bingji, the world record holder, 351.3. So she has thrown the cat among the pigeons. Ariane Titmus, the Olympic champion, and she is the championship record holder. As we head out into the call room, these swimmers will be on their way out onto the pool deck very, very shortly.
Yes, that world record from Li Bingji, that was set just at the end of October, not too long ago. She took 2.5 seconds, smashed Ariane Titmus's previous world record. Titmus, of course, not racing at these championships, but she did set the long course world record in this event back in April at the Australian Championships. So we'll see Lee coming up in our fourth and final heat. Pallister as well in heat 3. The two swimmers seated under 4 minutes here this morning.
So that's the start list for the first of these heats, 4 heats ahead of us. And South Africa and Slovakia represented in the 2 yellow lanes. That indicates the fastest seed times here, Stephanie Hoopman and Martina Chibulkova. 25-metre pool. So, gee, the starts, the turns, the underwater work, so important. And we are underway here at the 16th FINA World 25-metre Championships, the first of 4 heats. And as I mentioned, the start's so important, and the swimmer in lane number 2 was dwelling on the start there. That was Mika as they go through the first 25, and they're headed by the swimmer in lane number 5, Martina Chibulkova of Slovakia.
Yeah, Chibulkova just out to an early lead through the first 50 metres. You can see there on screen their flags, their country of origin, also the speed at which they're moving, and that split time there for the leader, 28.7. So Chibulkova and Hoopman from South Africa in lane 4, swimming alongside her. And you can see just under the water there, those screens on the bottom of the pool, they're actually underwater electronic lap counters for the swimmers. So you might be able to see that on the graphic. There's 16 laps in this short course 400 freestyle, and it will give a countdown as to how many laps to go for the swimmers in the water.
So they've completed the first 100 there, and as they turn, Chibulkova it is, who leads from Hoopman. Back there in 3rd place in lane number 3, it's Kuipers, and then Nabi, Mika and Bollinger. Bollinger some distance off the pace at the moment, but they turn once again, and we're going to see this right throughout the championships. The turns, the underwater work, the push off the wall, it can make or break a race.
Yeah, twice as many turns in the short course format of swimming, obviously, 25-metre pool instead of a 50-metre pool. So if it's one of your strengths, it's twice as many opportunities to work one of your stronger parts of the race, or if it's a weakness, then you're exposed to that weakness twice as many times. So you can see Cibulkova and Houtman just there head-to-head. It looks like it might be Houtman getting on top now, the swimmer in the white cap from South Africa, just moving slightly faster than her competitor now through the middle part of this race. And this is the 200-metre split, the halfway mark, 2:04.7 for Houtman, and she has entered in a time of 4:14, significantly quicker than that of the rest of the field. So we'll see if she can pull away through this second part of the race.
Well, her lead at the halfway mark was just over 0.7 of a second, and she's extended that by half a second now, out by 1.25 seconds. So Stephanie Houtman of South Africa is looking stronger the further this race goes on, and it's going to be tough for Cibulkova to challenge her from there. Kuiper's back there in third place as we have a good look at them underwater. That work underwater, so important as we mentioned. It's lanes 4 from 5. Houtman, Cibulkova.
Yeah, she got the biggest kick at this part of the race. You can see those feet clear in the water, and that just gives her the ability to stay high in the water with a really high body position, which then helps her lengthen her stroke as well. So you can see her stretching out and trying to pull as much water as she can on every single stroke, and she really looks strong through the back half of this one with 100 metres to go. That was a 104, 100 metre split there, so she can finish in 104 or better, then she's going to get under that entry time of 4:14, which I'm sure she'll be pleased about.
And she's extended that lead over Cibulkova to over 3 seconds now as they turn with 75 to go. And the margin now 3.98 seconds between first and second. So this is an impressive swim by the 20-year-old Stephanie Houtman from South Africa in the first of 4 heats in the women's 400 metres freestyle. Just under 2 laps to go, and she's looking very comfortable out there. Cibulkova trying to keep up with her back there in second place.
Yeah, you can see her just increase that kick speed again. The leader, Stephanie Houtman, she's pulled away just like we thought she would, and she's got a really big sprint here across this last 25 metres. Let's have a look at the time.
So she goes in now with 5 metres to swim, and a good performance by Stephanie Houtman. She stops the clock at 4:13.16. 4:13.16, so that is inside her entry time. That was 4:14.19. Cibulkova in second, and it was Navi who got third ahead of Kuipers.
Great performance there from Stephanie Houtman. Takes out the first race of the World Championships in Heat 1 of this women's 400 freestyle, representing South Africa. Swims a personal best time. And coming down now in lane 7, that's Amaya Bollinger, just finishing off her last 10 metres of freestyle here. And she's going to touch the wall in a time of 5:04.8.
.4:13.16. Yes, just over a second inside her personal best time.
There they are diving in the water. First athletes off the blocks here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, and Houtman, she was with Cibulkova at the halfway mark, but used that really powerful kick that we saw throughout the race to extend her lead over that second 200 metres, and her stroke looked really good. So the 20-year-old starts off the World Championships in fine fashion.
Houtman it is, Cibulkova second, Nabi third in the first of 4 heats of the women's 400 freestyle. Heat 2, France and Singapore with the fastest times going into this, Alexa Rayner and Chingui Gan.
your marks.
So Garner scratching here, leaving lane 5 empty. And Rayner from France with that entry time of 4:06.93. Good start out there for the swimmer in lane number 1 from Hong Kong. And that is Ho. Wai Tinky Ho Nam.
Yeah, even start across the 7 athletes in the water right now. Ho got away well at the top and just moving through in 4 now. That's Alexa Rayner from France, as you mentioned. So first 50, not so important across the 400 metres. 28.4 for Rayner. It's more about gaining your pace and holding that pace for as long as you can throughout that race. The swimmer with the least variation in their speed, so just being able to hold consistent splits like we saw from Hoedman in the previous heat. That's what will be important when it's a race of 16 laps. So still all pretty bunched up. We've got a swimmer from France and Spain in lanes 4 and 3. Just ahead of, down there in 7, swimming good is Avdic.
Yes, Avdic, Bosnia and Herzegovina, 4:12.24 entry time. She's the swimmer in lane 7, so she's 2 down from the yellow lines, but she's just behind lanes 4 and 3 at the moment. Rayner and Oteria Fernandez, the Spanish swimmer, the 18-year-old in lane number 3. A little between that pair, and also the Cuban in lane 2, that is Gamez. She's in 3rd place at the moment, in fact, make it 4th.
Yeah, plenty of youth in this heat with Rayner from France, just 17, and Avdic from Bosnia and Herzegovina, only 15 years of age down in lane 7 in that purple suit. So a great experience for some of these young teenagers to be racing at the World Championships and racing for a heat win as well, which is great for the confidence and great race practice for them before we move into the next 3 seeded heats. And it's still Rayner at the halfway mark, 2:02.3, so quicker than what we saw in the previous heat. The margin's only small though, it's less than a second separating the top 4 swimmers. And it's Rayner with that high stroke rate. She really doesn't get a whole lot of speed and flotation from her legs. They sort of just drift on behind her. Good underwater kick off that turn, and then she just relaxes back and lets her arms do the work through the middle part of the lap. And very different to what we're seeing from Crivard there in that light blue cap, starting to make a move through that 250-metre mark. She's a lot more leg dominant in her stroke, so trying to kick and trying to put pressure on Rayner. Now it's these 2 swimmers from France and Serbia that are starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
This is a really good race from the youngster there, the 15-year-old from Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's Iman Avdic. She's almost up there with the lead at the moment. Still Rayner in front. Now she may have just about lost it though, as we'll watch them turn. Avdic, I think, has just taken over. She has by 18 hundredths of a second over Rayner.
Yeah, it's a battle in 2 now with 100 metres to go. That was a good split time there of about 1:03 low, so they're travelling at a fine speed. Now Rayner's got an entry time of 4:06.9. And she needs to get a move on here and really push along with Anya Crivard if they want to break that entry time and swim a personal best in their first race of these World Championships. With 50 to go, 3:37.3. So they're going to go definitely under 4:10. We'll see if they can challenge that 4:06, but it's a good battle between the Frenchwoman and Crivard. Looks like she might have this change of speed down the last 25 metres.
And Rayner in lane 4 is breathing to her right, so she can see across the pool to the blue cap of her challenger there, Avdic, and she's kicked again. She's responded to the challenge, and she is going to take out this heat. Not by very much, but she wins it. Rayner it is. Crivard ends up getting second over Avdic. Crivard it was in second. Rayner taking it out. Really good swim that by Alexa Rayner. She saw the challenge there from Crivard in the middle of the race. In the last 50, she was good enough to get there.
Good racing there in Heat 2. That one going to the way of France. Alexa Rayner, that high stroke rate. Here's the finish. Only a 0.1 separated them. She does reach out and get it. Was able to hold off that challenge from Anya Crivard. They both swim times of 4:08. So really strong performances here.
So the margin between first and second, Rayner and Cravat, only 18 hundredths of a second, and 4:11.66 for third. France from Serbia, heat 2. Heat 3. And we have the first of the locals in action here. Leah Neal in 3 and Lani Pallister in lane number 4. So the 2 yellow caps of the Australian swimmers. Neal, the bronze medalist from the Budapest World Championship. She's in 3, and Lani Pallister. She's been a big improver over the last 6 months or so. 4th in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, I should say. And she is at the moment leading in lane number 4. Alongside her in 5, it's Wu with China, and Leah Smith, one to watch out for, the American in lane number 6.
Oh, great start from Lani Pallister there. Under world record pace at the first 50. The word from the coaching staff on the Australian team camp is that Pallister's in fine form. She swam great at the short course trials back in August, and did medal at the long course World Championships in Budapest as well. So after a disappointing 2021, she's really been on the rise again, and still at 20 years of age is going to be a formidable competitor across these 400-metre and longer distances in the long course and short course version of the pool. You can see that it's still under world record pace without even using her legs. So much easy speed does Pallister have. She'll feature in the 4x200 freestyle relay for Australia as well. And just with this new style of racing, since Katie Ledecky's come through in the last 10 years and really accelerates fast through the front half of the race, and it's almost a catch me if you can type of race strategy. We've seen Ariane Titmus adopt that in order to challenge and beat Katie Ledecky, and Pallister's sort of adopting that because domestically she's got to put up with Ariane Titmus and a bunch of other strong Australian freestylers that we are producing at the moment. So Pallister looking good in that race for second. Leah Smith in lane 6, the veteran American. She's featured heavily at this level before, so she definitely can't be discounted, especially the longer this race goes on.
So down to the halfway mark now, and Lani Pallister, she leads it by some margin, 2.5 seconds over Smith, and Neal in 3rd place at the moment, back in lane number 1, swimming for Denmark. She is holding down 4th. The 400 free, it's such an exciting event at the moment. As you mentioned, Katie Ledecky's reign ended by Ariane Titmus. Summer McIntosh of Canada is a challenger as well. And the way Lani Pallister's going, she is going to give them all a shake.
Well, in order to, everybody's changed and had to adopt different training practices and race strategies in order to challenge Ledecky. There's only one way to race her and beat her, and you've got to go out fast in order to compete. So that's what we've seen Titmus do. That's what we saw Summer McIntosh do through the World Cup circuit as well, where she did touch out Katie Ledecky in this short course race. And this sort of strategy is proving fruitful for Lani Pallister here. And through this first morning of heats racing, it's all about just feeling the water and getting your confidence up and getting a good swim out of the way before the bigger races that have come tonight and for the rest of the week. And Pallister does have a huge program. She'll be a medal favourite and even a gold medal favourite in 3 individual freestyle races. So you can see her really just not so much switch off, but just stay in her comfort zone after the first 100 metres here. And she knows she just needs to win this heat in order to move through to the final.
Yes, she's conserving energy, there's no doubt about that. It was a very impressive first half of the race, and now this is just, it's as if she's in the warm-up pool at the moment. She is just cruising. The challenge is coming from Smith, the American, in lane number 6. She was closing the gap, but Pallister opened up a big, big lead. And she leads it now by 1.3 seconds as they bring it home now. Pallister in front. Smith is also easing off just a touch. She's closed the gap. She's going to be second. Pallister wins it. Smith takes second. And it's tight for third. It looks as if it's gone the way of Flame of Slovenia, taking out third placing from lane 7. Lani Pallister, what a good swim it was. 3:59.5.
Yeah, training swim it was. She's not too tired after that one. Great first up swim from Lani Pallister. Gets the Australian team off on the right foot there. They are cheering her on. And quick off the blocks and really comfortable with that easy speed through the first 100 metres to be under world record pace without even really using her legs. Has quite good skills. Doing one dolphin kick off the wall, and she'll be happy with that. That's a good way to get your confidence up at the beginning of the World Champs.
Result with Pallister, the only swimmer under 4 minutes, 3:59.5. Smith second, Fane third, and the second Australian, Neil, was fourth. The fourth and final heat now, and we have the world record holder, Li Bingji of China, lane 4. But she's not starting, as Bobby alluded to earlier, so that is disappointing. She's out.
Take your marks.
So the world record holder, she was the defending champion, but of course she can't defend that title now. The bronze medalist from the Tokyo Olympics, lane 4 vacant. It means that Namba in 5 from Japan is the swimmer with the fastest of the entry times here. And across there in 3 and 2, it's Gemmell of the United States and Fairweather of New Zealand, who are the early leaders.
Yeah, big news with Li Bingji withdrawing from this event. It was reported that she did have a flu on the way into Melbourne, so with the 1500 scheduled for tomorrow, also the 800, that does change things in these longer events, and Pallister will start a hot favourite across a few gold medal races in the first few days of these World Champs, so big news. But back to the action now. Erin Gemmell from the United States just taking this race out aggressively. She's only 18. Is Gemmell just turned 18 last week, in fact, under world record pace as well, like we saw from Pallister. So good experience for the young Gemmell. She did get a taste of World Championship action in Budapest this year, featuring on some relays for the United States team and getting pushed along also by Erica Fairweather from New Zealand. Just also 18, not yet 19 years is Fairweather. She turns 19 on the 31st of December, and she's an Olympic finalist as well, so she has got valuable international race experience even at a young age.
So they've passed through the 150 there, and they're going stroke for stroke in lanes 2 and 3. Fairweather, the New Zealander, and Gemmell, the American. In fact, you speak about them both being 18. Gemmell has only just turned 18, and Fairweather, as you mentioned, will turn 18. Will turn 19, I should say, shortly. They're doing a great job out there in the absence of Li Bingji. Fairweather it is who leads by exactly a second over Gemmell. The Americans often come up with new names at major championships. They've got so much depth right across the board.
Yeah, they certainly do, and they do keep producing with the high school and college system that they have. That just produces so many fantastic swimmers. But we see Gemmell in that white cap with the American flag there in second position. Fairweather looks to have gained control over this one with 6 laps to go. And these swimmers, there's only 2 seeded heats of the 400 freeze and 400 individual medley races now, so they do have the pleasure of being able to watch the previous heat. They saw a bunch of 402s that placed 3rd, 4th and 5th. So they'll know they need to go quicker than 402 to guarantee themselves a spot in the final. And Fairweather, she was quick through that first 200 metres. Just have a look at this split now. 2:57.9, so she's split about 1 minute there. If she can hold this pace, she'll do a quicker heat swim than what we saw from Pallister. But you can see these two swimmers putting a lot more effort in their morning race today.
Just over 75 to swim here now. And Fairweather it is over Gemmell. Holding down 3rd, it's the swimmer in lane 5 from Japan, Mia Namba. And in 4th place, it's Kabori, the second of the Japanese swimmers in lane 7, but they're spread out quite a bit now. And with just on 50 to swim, it is Erica Fairweather of New Zealand who stretched the lead to a 1.5 body lengths.
Yeah, she looks really good. She can see the field now. She's entered in a 4:02. That might be a long course time because she's going to go well under that this morning. That lead now, it's at 1.7 seconds over Gemmell. Gemmell trying to hold off the challenge from Namba of Japan, and it's going to be Fairweather in heat 4.
Fairweather, a couple of strokes to go. She glides into the wall now and she takes it out impressively. That's the quickest of the times we've seen. Gemmell second and Namba in third, placing ahead of her teammate Kabori. Well done to the youngster, the teenager from New Zealand, Erika Fairweather.
Yeah, she's really happy with that. To see the board 358.2 when she pulled away from Gemmell towards the finish. Here we are under the flags. She wins by about 2 body lengths and really pleased with that, the 18-year-old from New Zealand. She will start from lane 4 tonight in the final, Fairweather and Pallister.
3:58.27 the winning time in the final heat, and just over 4 minutes for Gemmell and Namba. A couple of seconds away, Kabori. So through to the final then, the top 8. Fairweather and Pallister will start in 4 and 5. Gemmell and Smith, Mia and Kabori, and then Fane and Neal. So 2 Australians making it through. First reserve, should be there be a scratching, will be the Chinese swimmer there, Liu.
Yeah, Liu missing out. China came in seeded 1st and 4th, and with that withdrawal from Li Bingji, there will be no Chinese swimmers in this final. 2 Australians and 2 Americans, so really good battle brewing tonight for Fairweather. Pallister, Leah Smith can't be discounted, and they're all vying for their first ever World Championship gold medal.
The women's 100 metres backstroke is next. We have those heats. Minna Atherton setting the world record 3 years ago, 54.89. 6 heats ahead of us.
Yeah, Atherton competing at these World Championships, but not in this distance, not in the 100-metre distance. The world record holder won't race. She'll feature in the 200 backstroke. Still later to come at these championships, but there's 6 heats here. The defending champion, Louise Hansen, she'll start in the last. And here are the swimmers for heat 1.
Yes, with Georgia and Mongolia in 4 and 5 here. Nikolashvili and Garland. Madagascar represented, Macau, the Maldives, Georgia, Mongolia, Botswana, Swaziland and the Northern Mariana Islands. Slight delay, just an adjustment being made to the overhead flags.
Stand down.
So important in the backstroke events.
Just relax. Just relax.
Let's hope the swimmers don't get cold behind the blocks. It is a little bit chilly here in Melbourne.
Just relax.
The backstroke, they do need the wedges there that hang over the blocks just to give the swimmers a bit of grip through their feet and toes off that start so that they don't slip, and the flags come out 5 metres from the wall so that the swimmers can count their strokes before rolling over and turn. So there's a bit of equipment needed to get ready for these backstroke events, and they're just making sure, the officials just making sure that everything's set and in place where it should be before they get underway in this 100-metre backstroke event.
Certainly words from an expert in the backstroke, former world champion, world record holder at that in the 50 back, Bobby Hurley. A few years ago now, Bobby.
10 years ago it was now. I did like the short course backstroke races.
Istanbul 2012.
That's it. That's it. And the men's 100 backstroke coming up later as well. And with the backstroke event, you are allowed 15 metres underwater, and across a 25-metre pool, that only leaves 10 metres to swim. So if you are an excellent underwater kicker, it's faster to stay under the water for that full 15 metres. So you are in fact doing about 60% of the race underwater and 40% of the race actually swimming. So those skills and streamlined underwater kick just so important when it comes to short course racing, and we'll see that definitely through the latter heats of the women's event, and definitely in the men's event with guys like Ryan Murphy and Thomas Chekon competing in that. But the flags are down. Flags are down in the water. They are just trying to correct something now.
Well, we had the flags up, of course, in preparation for the event yesterday. I don't know, it's a pity that a problem has arisen just at the important time. And as you mentioned, those girls behind the blocks now, the first of 6 heats, and they've got to try to keep themselves warm, ready physically and mentally for this race. This is a long delay. You mentioned Louise Hansen, the defending champion. We'll see her in the 6th and final heat. And alongside her, it'll be Molly O'Callaghan. Now, Molly O'Callaghan from Australia is one of the up-and-coming sprinters on the world scene. We've seen what she's capable of in Budapest in particular. Unlucky not to get a swim in the relay in Tokyo when the Australians won the gold medal. But she is just about #1 now. But interestingly, she's swimming only the backstroke here. So she'll be against Louise Hansen in the final heat.
Yeah, she had a great long course World Championships this year, O'Callaghan. She won the individual 100 freestyle, medalled in the 200 freestyle. She was prevalent on those strong Australian women's relay teams. But at the short course championships, everybody expected big things because she's so good underwater. But she did get beat across the freestyle events by Emma McKeon and Maddie Wilson, that we'll see in the relay later this morning. So just so much depth on the Australian side that O'Callaghan finds herself racing the backstroke events alongside Kaylee McEwen, the Olympic champion. And again, that leaves Minna Atherton, the world record holder, without an individual swim in this distance. So the women's team for Australia just so strong. And as you mentioned, on the long course stage, you know, Kaylee McEwen and Regan Smith from the United States, they've certainly proved dominant through the 100 and 200 metre distances. Kylie Mass as well always seems to be on every podium, but sparingly is she the gold medalist. She got 3 silvers at the last short course worlds in Abu Dhabi. She'll race here as well, but in the short course format, there's no real dominant swimmer in the world right now in these women's backstroke events, especially the 50 and the 100. In Abu Dhabi 12 months ago, we saw Maggie McNeil, the butterfly specialist, sneak through and break the world record in the 50 back. And Louise Hansen's the defending champion in this event from Sweden. And again, she's a butterfly specialist, but came through racing the college system in the United States and is just absolutely electrifying under the water. So we'll wait and see. This is going to be a really juicy field with Mass, McEwen, Kira Toussaint in there as well. She'll race in Heat 4.
Yeah, they're all waiting in the call room, of course, so difficult for the girls in the call room, but difficult for the girls down here behind the starting blocks as well. In fact, as we move from the call room back to the starting blocks, we see the swimmers back there putting their tracksuits back on. They were set to move up onto the blocks and get the whistle to emerge and prepare for a start, but now they're...
The swimmer in lane 1's put her socks back on behind the blocks.
Yeah.
So it says 17 degrees. It might be a little bit colder than that when you put wind chill factor in there. She is there with the pink and grey socks back on. So there's 2 of them with socks. They've got to remember to take them off before they jump in the water again.
Yes, the swimmer from Madagascar in lane number 1. Ideally, Tendrin Havelina. Pretty chilly there. So difficult for these swimmers. I mean, this delay has gone on for 5 to 10 minutes now. And as I mentioned, in the call room, I guess it's easier for the girls in the call room. They can keep themselves occupied, they can keep chatting, but particularly difficult. How do the girls down here behind the blocks cope with this?
Put your socks on. Keep warm, they've got to keep warm, and I guess now that this is clearly being a longer delay, sometimes they're only 1 or 2 minutes, but this is a little bit longer, so they can switch off as such, and you can see the swimmer in lane 6 with the headphones on, just staying warm and loose, and then when they do start to get the flags back in, then they can just mentally reset and get ready again. But it is unusual, especially for the inexperienced swimmers in Heat 1 that we're seeing here, just to stay focused. We see there in lane 4 taking a few selfies, and good picture of the crowd there. A lot of local swimmers coming out here to watch the World Championships, and the swimmers and coaches in that first section of the stand. There's the Australian swim team in their bright yellow jackets.
In the middle of the screen there's Dawn Fraser. She's just moving to the right of the screen now, and one of the real legends of not only Australian swimming, but world swimming, of course, the great Dawn Fraser. And you mentioned that it's pretty chilly. Well, Dawn's, and in front of her, it looks like Janelle Elford, the mother of Lani Pallister, so Janelle's pretty happy, I would imagine. But, gee, they make them tough. Dawn Fraser, she's into her 80s now, and she's just got the T-shirt on. She's okay. Such an important peripheral figure to Australian teams these days.
Yeah, she really is the first swimmer to win 3 Olympic titles in a row in the women's 100 freestyle, and the first female to break the 1-minute barrier in that event, and a huge supporter of the Australian swim team. And you see her there with Janelle Pallister there in the front row. So we'll probably see a lot of former Australian swimming heroes here at these championships throughout the week in the stands and supporting the team. And it has been 15 years since the World Championships have returned to Australia, so I'm sure we'll see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd this week in Melbourne.
Well, the good news is that we should be on our way shortly. The problem was a bent pole. The word has come through, and they've replaced the pole, and we are not too far away from getting this race underway once again, which is good news. A long delay there. And, I guess these things happen occasionally. I'm sure the pole wasn't bent yesterday, but I guess in terms of storage, these things can happen at any particular time, and it happened at an unfortunate time. The Japanese contingent watching on, waiting.
So now you can see the swimmers just get ready for the race again. Just take the headphones off. They've all taken their socks off and wrap their head around this 100-meter backstroke event. 4 laps of the pool.
Take your marks.
And finally, we're away with the first of 6 heats of the women's 100 metres backstroke. And it's Nikolashvili of Georgia in lane number 4. So she has the fastest qualifying time. And Garland of Mongolia in lane 5 has started well. And she leads through the first 50. In 3rd place, it'll be Chung of Macau.
Yeah, only 3 seat times here, and Nikolashvili in 4, the fastest there with a 106.9 entry time, but she's in 2nd position right now behind Enkem Garland, who turns first in 30.8. She's got a lead of about 0.6 of a second. Just had a strong turn there. She's opened that up over the swimmer in lane 4, but now moving through at the top of screen, that's Chiang in lane 2 that's had a strong third 25 and will be in second position at the last turn.
So it's Garland from Mongolia, 18-year-old. She's got an entry time of 1:10.31, but I'll tell you what, she's being challenged now by that swimmer you mentioned in lane 2, Chang of Macau. She's finishing well. She's finishing over the top and she takes it out. So 1:04.74, the winning time here. It was Income Garland in second place, and then Nicholas Vierli was able to grab third. Really well-timed race, though, by Wing Lam Chung of Macau.
Yeah, strong through that second 50 metres. She turned in third position at the halfway mark, but just was able to hold her speed and swim strongly into the finish. She takes out the first heat. Really strong performance, especially after that delay, and here they come at the finish, neck and neck, but up at the top of screen, that's Cheng getting the touch by just 0.2 of a second. The swimmers have to count their strokes under their flags and lunge for the wall without exactly knowing where the wall is, as they are on their back, and she takes out the first.
1:04.74, that winning time. 1:04.98 for second, so it's around a quarter of a second separating the first two. And then back to third, 1:07.03. Heat 2 now. Zimbabwe represented with Donata Katai in 4.
Take your marks.
So Katai with the quickest of the entry times here, alongside Tatiana Salkutin. Salkutin in lane 5, and Grana Perez in lane number 6 is flying in the early stages.
Yeah, huge start there from Miranda Grana Perez there in that light green suit. You can see staying underwater longer, just popping up now right before that 15-metre mark. Red marker on the lane rope, so she's taken this out aggressively through the first 50, 28.01. She's entered in 1:03.3. She's on track to smash her entry time. And you can see so strong under the water, utilising the full 15 metres. And she's a class above this field in heat number 2. We'll see if she can hold that through that last turn, and she does. That's the 10-metre. She goes past the 10 metres and comes up, and she's going to win this by a large margin.
Large margin indeed for the 18-year-old Mexican. Last stroke as she goes in and stops the clock now in 58.8. In second place, it was a good swim by the competitor down there in lane number 8. That was Abril Ananchena of Uruguay. So she grabbed second. But this was a dominant performance from the Mexican.
Yeah, just turned 18, so a real up-and-coming swimmer from Mexico. There she is in that light green suit. Really high-arching start and powerful underwater kicks. She counts those kicks. She knows exactly when to pop up and break out into that stroke as to not go over 15 metres, and lunging at the finish there, wins by about 3 body lengths and improves on her entry time by 5 seconds. Strong performance. Should challenge for a semi-final spot.
There's a time there, 58.8, 1:01.07 for second. Starters for heat 3 now.
Take your marks.
So it's the Philippines and New Zealand in lanes 4 and 5 here. Isleta and Ubenhand. And a very good start in lane number 3 as well, Barrino of Argentina.
Yeah, it might be Kim in lane 8 down the bottom of the pool that turns first, and strong underwater. You can't see her on screen there. She is about half a body length ahead. Really still, head position and high above the water. We'll see if she can still hold these turns through the next two. 27.7, she turns ahead of Medi Harris from Great Britain in that red cap, trying to move through across this third 25. Kim starting fatigue ever so slightly, and Harris looks really strong down this lap.
Here's Harris taking over. Kim, the oldest swimmer in the race, at the grand old age of 26. They make them young in international swimming these days, but it's Medi Harris of Great Britain, the 22-year-old. She's in front and she's going to take it out. Harris it is who wins it. In second place, Kim, and Ubenhand in third. Nicely timed race by the Brit.
Yeah, a lot of these swimmers entered with long course times, it seems, if they haven't raced in the short course version of this event over the last 18 months or so. So Medi Harris, a great swimmer. We've seen her at this level swim in multiple semi-finals and finals. She posts that time of 57.5, which should be good enough to make the semi-finals and be in the top 16 at the conclusion of heats. We'll wait and see.
These times really coming down now. The first 5 all under the minute. 57.51, the winning time for Harris. Now the first of the seeded heats. Heats 4, 5 and 6 for the seeded swimmers, and Kira Toussaint is the swimmer in lane number 4. Ricky Douard of the Netherlands. Toussaint, 4th in Abu Dhabi 12 months ago.
Take your marks.
Yes, Toussaint has been a regular on the international scene lately. 4th, as I mentioned, Abu Dhabi. She made the Olympic final as well, and she was 6th in Budapest at the World Long Course Championships.
Yeah, she's been prevalent in these finals through the back half of her career, and she was the former world record holder in this short course 50-metre backstroke before that was broken by McNeil in Abu Dhabi last year. So you can see her in the middle of the pool, not the tallest swimmer, but underwater she moves on her side so that she can look at the field, but she is the fastest underwater kicker on her side, then she's on her back, which is very unconventional. So she pulls away there through that 50-metre turn. It's Toussaint by about a quarter body length ahead of Kubova above her. You can see her tilt on that side, get an angle. She's got an unusual breakout stroke as well, and that's a big turn from Douard there at the end too.
Also swimming well at Mathieu of France, but it's going to be Toussaint who takes it out. She wins it in second place. It was Kubova. And down there in lane number 8, Staden, the American. Well, she came through in the final 25 and she grabbed third.
Yeah, there's Toussaint on screen. Again, the top 16 move through, so they know they just need a strong heat swim. It doesn't probably need to be at maximum effort, but just warm up their underwaters, get used to racing in this competition pool. They've never, definitely the non-Australians, they've never raced in this pool before, which is a semi-outdoor format. So Toussaint takes out the first seeded heat.
56.62 for the winner. Kubova 56.76. Staden third. The second last of the heats here, Kylie Maas of Canada and Kaylee McEwen of Australia. McEwen, who won the backstroke double at the Tokyo Olympics, the 1 and the 200. She's in 5.
Got to watch for these Americans on the outside lanes with long course times. That's Claire Curzon in lane 1 as well, the 18-year-old.
Take your marks.
Curzon was the bronze medalist at the World Championships in Budapest, so she's in 1. Maas, the Canadian, in 4, and McEwen, the Olympic champ, in the 1 and the 2, in lane 5, and she's got away well.
Yeah, McEwen in the gold cap of the Australian team. They're all underwater now. They pop up at about 10 metres. Curzon, and down there as well, that's Rosvold from Sweden in second place with a great turn. So McEwen with plenty of work to do. Maas in the middle. She's a great racer, Kylie Maas, and a great finisher as well. They're really bunched up in this second seeded heat. Curzon now at the top of screen moving through. As we predicted, it might be the swimmers in lanes 1 and 7, and McEwen's in about 4th position.
And a lot of work to do. Top 16 making it through to the semi-final stage. McEwen with a good turn there, but it's still Rosvold in front, Curzon, and it's a race between that pair. I think Rosvold's going to get there. Rosvold will take it out. Curzon second, Maas, and then McEwen. So they were spread right out across the pool. Hannah Rosvall of Sweden, 22-year-old. She records a time here, 56.57.
Yeah, classy swim there from Rosvall. That's a personal best by about 1 second. She got great experience last year in Abu Dhabi, and 12 months on, now she's winning heats here against accomplished competitors as well. Curzon, Mass and McEwen all finished behind her, and it's the fastest time of the morning.
The time 56.57, 100th of a second outside her entry time. Curzon second and Mass in third. The sixth and final heat featuring the defending champion Louise Hanson in lane 4 and Molly O'Callaghan, the silver medalist at the Commonwealth Games, in the 50 in lane 3.
Take your marks.
So Hanson, the one to watch for here, the defending champion, the Swede in lane 4, Ingrid Wilm, the Canadian, in lane 5, and it's going to be fascinating to see what the sprint sensation, the freestyle sprint sensation, Molly O'Callaghan does in 3.
Yeah, she got beaten off that start. She's a great underwater kicker, is O'Callaghan, but just loses her speed going into the turns, and you can see the short course specialist there from Wilm and Hanson, just a class above at this point of the race. It's Wilm turning first in 26.81, not far off world record pace. Big turn there from Hanson. As you mentioned, she's the defending world champion, so she knows how to control this race as they push off underwater. She will be able to see Wilm on her left, O'Callaghan on her right, and she will want to win this heat.
And she has her nose in front at the moment. She's an experienced swimmer at 26. They're coming at her now, Wilm and O'Callaghan, but it should be Hanson. Hanson wins it from Wilm and O'Callaghan. 1, 2, 3, and 1 it was from China in 4th placing. Little between the top 3 there. Good racing in the 6th and final heat.
Yeah, quick time as well, 56.04. It's the fastest swim this morning by about half a second, so a big margin. Down into the turn there. She turns behind Wilm. It's Hanson in the blue suit, and she goes past her underwater. So just one of the best, if not the best, underwater kicker in the world is Louise Hanson, and gets the touch there in the last heat. O'Callaghan touching third.
So 56.04 for the winner, 56.15 and 56.35. It's 0.3 of a second separating the top 3 in the final heat. So that completes the heats there. The women's 100 back. We move through to the semi-final phase, and Hanson with the fastest time. Wilm, O'Callaghan, Rosvall, Toussaint, all the big names there. And also making it through Claire Curzon with the 9th quickest of the times, and the last of those times, 57.54 for Silvia Scalia of Italy. The unlucky 17th, Peng of China with 57.67. Shirei of Japan will be the second reserve.
Yeah, a bit relaxed there this morning from Kylie Mass and Kaylee McEwen there, just qualifying about 12th and 13th, so they make it comfortably enough, but they will need to step it up tonight in the semi-finals. McEwen does have the 200 IM heats later to come this morning, so she's well experienced to control her races as they go through from heats to semis to finals. But I would be surprised if McEwen or Mass miss the podium come that final tomorrow night.
Now the men's 100 metres backstroke, and Coleman Stewart, the American, setting that world record a year ago, 48.33. Just 2 swimmers in the first of the heats. This is the first of 6 heats. And it looks like the swimmer from lane 3, Abbas of Sudan, is the scratching.
Take your marks.
So in the absence of Abbas, it's Carol Irakosi in lane 4, and Mohammed Shiam is the swimmer there in lane number 5, and a good start there by Irakosi. Sometimes in these early heats there's a bit of a distance between the swimmers, and that's the way it's looking already after just 30 metres or so of this first heat.
Yeah, he's got an entry time of 107.39, does Irakosi, compared to that of the 111.8 for Shiham, who's got a nice slow stroking stroke. He might be more suited to the 200-metre distance, which we'll see on the last day of competition here on Sunday, on day 6. But for now, it's the 100-metre sprint. Irakosi there with about 5 underwater kicks, looks strong as he pushes off the wall. He will take out this heat, nice still head position. He's just trying to build his stroke rate, the speed of his arms into the finish. And he will go well under his entry time, touching in 102.86, 5 seconds faster than what he's entered in. And Shiham as well, also faster than their entries. So a great swim from the swimmers in Heat 1.
There's just the 2 swimmers there, and we'll check on that result in just a moment. Irakosi with that winning time. As we have a look at the start once again, he was better off the wall there. And once he was in the water and he emerged, he was never really threatened.
There he is, touching the wall. Very pleased with his results.
So the swimmer from Burundi, Irakosi, taking it out. Shiham of the Maldives in second, 107.35. Heat 2 looking like this.
False start there from lane 1.
And that means he's out of the race. It's unforgiving. Mind you, he hasn't been informed as yet, but that is normally the way.
Yeah, it is a one-start rule. He's taken his cap off, has Zubayd in lane 1, but we're yet to see an official go over and inform him that he would be disqualified or unable to swim the heat. But here comes one of the technical officials now.
The bad news. And he's just told to, well, I thought he was being told to stay in the pool. He's out of the pool now, though. So that's what happened. That's bad luck as far as Mohammed Zubayd of Kuwait is concerned.
Yeah, he's only 14, so he'll learn from this experience, and he's entered in plenty more events still to come at these championships, so he will get another opportunity to race shortly.
Now we're underway with the swimmers in 4 and 5 there. It's Merton Atayev of Turkmenistan, and the swimmer from Angola in lane 5 is Abdullah Arjun.
It's Chuang in lane 6 that is well ahead with a great turn there off that first wall. We'll take a look at this halfway split. He's entered in a 55.5, but he's really flying, 25.2. He should be looking at something around 53 seconds if he can hold those fantastic turns and underwater kicks that he's shown so far. Swimmers in the middle of the pool, they're all bunched up as well, having a great battle for second, but at the moment it's Chang with a big lead.
And he continues to dominate. A big first lap. The race is for second and third, really, between lanes 3 and 4 and 5, but no doubt about our winner here, Long Chung. He records a time here, 52.79, and then it was Matayev in second place. So a really good swim here for this 21-year-old. Had an entry time 55.57, as Bobby Hurley's mentioned. Sometimes with these early heats, though, in fact, even latter heats, the entry times are perhaps from long course, so they're not always all that reliable.
Yeah, he exploded off the start. showed great speed through the first 50 metres and was able to carry that on. 52.79 to take out Heat 2 ahead of Atiev and Al Bawab, the top 3 place getters there.
And the 14-year-old, of course, Zubayd, disqualified. Heat 3 now. Terry Bolin of Switzerland and Gert Feldberg of Latvia, 4 and 5. Håkan Busquetti of Paraguay in lane number 3. An Australian represented here in lane 2, Isaac Cooper. So Bolin in 4 and Feldberg's the 29-year-old. It's a decent old age as far as swimmers are concerned. And Håkan Busquetti's even older. He's the swimmer there in lane number 3, and he is 33.
Yeah, plenty of experience in this field, and you see Isaac Cooper from Australia. He's got a lot of speed. He's out in front through the first 50 metres, turning in 23.71. That's really fast. He does lack a bit of experience in the 100-metre distance, so we'll see if he can hold on in Heat 3. But swimming now, moving through the field in 5. That's Feldberg's starting to challenge Cooper down to the last wall.
Cooper it is as they emerge. Feldberg's on level terms now. May just have a touch in front there. Oh, I think it's going to be Cooper. Oh, it was Bolin and then Cooper. Wow. Bolin, Cooper in lane 2. But Bolin with that time, 50.1. And I mentioned the times are not always reliable. The entry times, well, that's 2 1/4 seconds inside his entry time.
Yeah, it's really fast in the unseeded heats. I got that mixed up. It's a swimmer from Switzerland in the red cap, Thierry Bolin, 50.10. Gets the touch over Cooper at the finish here. They are on the wall. Bolin in the right side in that red cap, just jammed up at the finish a little bit, but he's pumped with that swim. The 22-year-old, that'll definitely make the semi-finals. Bolin and Cooper, they should be safe. Marek Ulrich, 50.92. with a strong performance as well. It should take a 50.5 or better to qualify in the top 16 this morning.
So the first of the seeded heats now, Ryan Murphy and Luke Greenbank, the big names there. Acevedo of Canada in 5. Good start there by Murphy. Ryan Murphy, the 27-year-old American, silver medalist at the Budapest World Championships, and Luke Greenbank, the Brit, was a good performer at the Commonwealth Games. He's in 3.
Yeah, Murphy there leading him through. He's definitely the most established backstroker of this field in the 100 and 200 metre distances, and look at him assert his dominance through the first 50, 23.6. It's fast through the first 2 laps, and a great underwater exponent, one of the best in the world, and he's just got such a strong upper body that he can really use his arms in the swimming and save his legs for exactly this, the underwater streamline. He's got a big lead through this seeded heat. We'll see what time Murphy can post this morning.
Yes, he's well in front. Put the glasses down as far as he's concerned. The battle for second could be Brunswick. Brunswick gets second, just over Greenbank.
Oh, that's a smooth-looking 49.3 for Ryan Murphy, the Olympic champion from Rio and the Olympic medalist from Tokyo, is yet to win a world title in the long course pool, and he's going to chase a few gold medals here in Melbourne. Judging off that heat swim, he comes to Australia in fine form. The only swimmer under 50 seconds so far this morning.
Yes, 49.34, an excellent swim there. He looked very confident in the water. Ryan Murphy, Ole Brunswick in second place, Luke Greenbank third. The second last of the heats now featuring Lorenzo Mora of Italy in lane number 4 and Ryosuke Iri of Japan. He's in 5.
Tokyo marks.
Mora was a finalist in Abu Dhabi. Not too much difference off the wall in terms of the start's concerned. Erie, finalist in Budapest. So too Masoud for pole in 7.
Yeah, a couple of 50-metre specialists here with Masoud. They're turning first. Got a medal in the 50 back at the long course world champs. 17-year-old has been dominating the junior scene at European and world level. But he turns second now. That's Tomac from France with an early strong first 50. And Lorenzo Mora in the middle of the field in that black cap is a great underwater exponent as well. So Mora turns on his front first. They're really bunched up in heat 5. It might be Mora and Tomac.
Tomac, Mora just getting on top perhaps. It's stroke for stroke. No, Tomac goes again and he's going to take it out. Tomac from Mora and then Erie and then Franta. There won't be much between them in terms of times, but under the 50-second mark just for Tomac of France, 49.99 in a tight finish.
Yeah, anything under 50 is a very classy performance. And that's his first time under that 50-second mark. Strong last 10 metres just to get over Mora, who's better suited to underwater kicking. And Tomac takes out heat 5.
So 49.99, 50.18 it was for Mora, and Erie 50.37. France, Italy, Japan in heat number 5. And the final heat looking like this with Robert Glinter of Romania, bronze medalist in this event at Abu Dhabi 12 months ago. He is in 4. Commonwealth Games champion Kutsa of South Africa in 2.
Tokyo marks.
A lot of good international form from the swimmers in this race. Yes, the bronze medalist Glinter from Abu Dhabi and Stokowski was 5th in that final. But, gee, in lane number 4, Glinter's off to a slow start.
Oh, he's totally missed the start there, Glinter. The bronze medalist from 12 months ago might have slipped on that wedge. He's not totally, he might be totally out of it. He's at the feet of his competitors. Really disappointing for the Romanian, but turning first, that's Christo in lane 3 from Greece. Stokowski, also the second of the Polish swimmers, having a good swim. And Glinter's out of this down the back of the field.
And he knows he's out of it. He's taken his foot off the pedal right from the start. So he's back in 8th as they turn to bring it home now. And Christo in lane number 3 would be in front. Stokowski finishing hard as they hit the wall. It was Christo from Stokowski. And Nadeau Brouard, the Frenchman, back in 3rd placing.
50.01, the experience of Apostolos Christo taking out the last heat. He will be the 3rd fastest swimmer this morning. Controlled performance. I'm interested to see the replay. There's Glint to the left of the yellow lanes. No, he looked to have got off cleanly. Might have gone deep, did he? The only other thing, he might have hit the bottom of the pool, but an uncharacteristic start there from Robert Glinter. He'll find himself out of this one. And the top 3 in hit 6, that's Christo, Stokowski, and Nadeau Brouard. Peter Kotze as well, getting under 51. They should move safely through to the semis.
Yes, it wasn't a dreadful start there off the wall from Glinter, but as you mentioned, something went amiss very early in the race. So through to the semi-finals, the men's 100 back. Ryan Murphy with the fastest time. Tomac also under 50 seconds. Christo with the 3rd quickest. And the 16th quickest time was Marek Ulrich of Germany, 50.92. So those 16 swimmers go through. 50.93, Hunter Armstrong, the American, position 17. He will miss the semis.
Yeah, that's big news from Armstrong. He's the world champion in the long course 50 backstroke, the world record holder as well. We'll see if he can gather himself up for the short distance backstroke to come on Thursday, I believe. But a really classy performance from Ryan Murphy. He looks like the man to beat in this 100 metres backstroke, and a few familiar and some new names to challenge him tonight in the semis.
The women's 50 metres butterflies next. We have 6 heats coming your way, and we will see some big names towards the end of them. Claire Curson, the world junior record holder. Here's the start list for the first of them. Zenon and Kamara, 4 and 5. So suddenly we're down to swimmers in lanes 3, 4 and 6. A couple of scratchings there, and it means that Sanders, Zenon and Nupane are the swimmers here. And in lane number 4, it's Zenon, who is our leader at the halfway mark, and she's starting to stretch that lead as well. She pushed off the wall and extended the lead, and Zenon it is who's going to take it out. Inside the last 5, a couple of strokes to go, and she goes in now, and records a time 29.32. It was Sanders, Rachel Sanders of Gibraltar in second, and in third it was Rosha Nupane of Nepal.
Yeah, under 30 seconds this morning for Zenon, the 22-year-old. First off the blocks there. Just needs to get those legs together and to streamline before entering the water. That'll ensure much smoother entry and dive. But a great finish to take out heat 1. She's happy with that. Smiling at the camera before even looking at her time. Zenon, Sanders and Nupane.
And there's the start list for heat number 2. Looking down, though, I think we might have a scratching. Looks like Rover, the Fijian, is not starting from 5. And an even start here with Ajay of Ghana in lane number 4. Vili of Papua New Guinea in lane 3.
Yeah, it's only short, this 50 fly. 2 laps of the pool and getting out aggressively. That's Ajay in lane 4, top of those yellow lanes, pushing off deep underwater to use those butterfly kicks. She comes up now, might be getting challenged from Vili, the swimmer from Papua New Guinea. As they come down into the wall, it's Ajay and Vili swimming 29.114. That's Mivia Ajay from Ghana taking out heat 2 of the women's 50 butterfly. And she gets under her entry time as well by 0.2 of a second. Her time 29.11.
The swimmer from Ghana. Those colourful goggles of hers.
Yeah, really great replays here. Camera angles provided to us from the production team, and into the finish. Full stroke on that touch. Mivia Ajay, 29.11.
As we look down at the pool here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, Albert Park. This is Grand Prix territory. In a few months' time, it'll be round 4 of the World Formula One Grand Prix, and they'll be going past at about, what, 300, 400 kilometres an hour. At the moment, we've got our fast swimmers in action. And there are the results now. So Ghana, Papua New Guinea, and St Martin first, second, third. 29.11, Ajay winning it. Heat 3 now, the third of 6. Anika Delgado of Ecuador and Huang of Taipei, 4 and 5. And off they go now. Delgado, the swimmer from Ecuador, the 20-year-old, 27.12 her entry time. She's our early leader.
Yeah, not much separates them in heat 3. Bit of a short turn there for the swimmer in 4, Delgado. She does turn first, but having a good turn there. That's Crooks from the Cayman Islands. That's starting to put a little bit of pressure. The finish is important to time this on a full stroke, and it will be Delgado taking out heat 3, 26.04, 1 second faster than her entry time. Great performance from the 19-year-old. gets the touch narrowly over Crooks, and Huang from Chinese Taipei in a really tight third heat of this women's 50-meter butterfly. Coming up off that dive, keeps her head down just to transfer that speed from the underwater into the first stroke and into that finish. Again, the timing of the touch important so that you're not gliding or not finishing too short on the wall, and she really nailed that.
26.04 for the winner, 26.4 for second, and 26.47 for third. Halfway through the heats of the women's 50 metres butterfly. Heat 4 now, the first of the seeded heats. Tori Husk is the American. A one to beat in lane number 4. Nika DeVord, another swim for her in lane 5, and Beryl Gastaldello of France. She's in 3. And dwelling on the blocks, there was Alexandria Perkins, the yellow cap of Australia, in lane 2, but way nicely Husk. Husk, who was 5th in Abu Dhabi, 6th in Budapest.
Yeah, she's only 20 years of age, just turned 20, but so much international experience through last year's Olympics and the last couple of world champs. And it's Husk, Junovic in that yellow cap of Sweden, swimming strongly as well, but not much separates them. It will be Junovic on the touch, just ahead of Husk. And Beryl Gastaldello, swimmer from France, placing 3rd, much quicker than what we've seen so far as well, 25.04. It's actually only about 0.6 of a second away from the world record, and that was just the first of the seeded heats. So things starting to really heat up in this women's 50 butterfly. And Junovic there on the right of screen, coming into the wall, not much separating them, a little long from Gastaldello on the left, and Sarah Junovic, personal best time as well.
Junovic, 25.04, winning heat 4 from Tori Husk and Beryl Gastaldello. Maggie McNeil is the Canadian in 4 here. She had a wonderful World Championships in Budapest, an emerging star. She's the one to beat. Hennig of France in 5. As I mentioned, Maggie McNeil, she won the World Cup, the FINA World Cup event in Toronto, but Hennig, the silver medalist from Budapest.
Yeah, a little slow off the blocks was McNeil in that red suit and black cap, but watch her off the turn. She's very small, but she's just so good underwater. Look at the amplitude of the kick from Hennig. A lot more power there, and it's Hennig about a half body length ahead of McNeil. As they come down to the finish, it will be Melanie Hennig. 24.88, gets under that 25-second mark and asserts a bit of dominance there over the world champion Maggie McNeil. So strong first up swim here in Melbourne from a lot of the French swimmers. And Melanie Hennig, the almost 30-year-old, coming good at the back end of her career, just less than 2 years out from the Paris Olympics as well. She's been a sprinter, a top-class sprinter over the past decade, and she's showed up in good form here in Melbourne.
And she wins it by a quarter of a second over McNeil. So Hennig from McNeil and Soma of Japan in 3rd, heat 5. The final heat features Claire Curson, the world junior record holder, bronze medalist in Abu Dhabi, the American in 4, and Zhang Yufei in 5, 5th in Abu Dhabi. So Curson in 4, Zhang I mentioned in lane number 5, and as they come up, it looks like it's going to be 5. Zhang who's setting the pace.
Yeah, Zhang with the best of the starts, the 200 fly Olympic champion, but so good underwater is she, that she's equally as good at the sprint. So Curzon there, just above her, back with the rest of the field, but a strong first up swim here from Zhang Yufei. She's going to dominate this heat, 24.75, fastest time of the morning, and takes the heat ahead of her teammate. That was Wang in lane 2, touching in second. Curzon back in fourth. There's Zhang Yufei, was first through the 25 metres. A great underwater kicker. She's got the endurance for the 200 metres, but she's got the skills and the power over the 50 as well. Timed that finish to perfection, and it's faster than her entry time. It's probably a personal best for Zhang Yufei, 24.75, the only swimmer under 25 in that heat, ahead of Wang, Di Pietro and Curzon. As we wait for the results summary.
And Zhang with the fastest time going through to the semis from Hennick and Juvenik. Tori Husk the fourth fastest, and then McNeil. Curzon, the 11th fastest time, the world junior record holder. A bit of work to do. And Perkins, Alexandria Perkins of Australia, takes the last position in the semis. So 6 heats. And of course the top 16 making it through to the second round, from there the top 8 swimming for the medals. Now the men's 50 metres butterfly, Nicholas Santos is 42 years of age and he's still going. He's back again, the world record holder. The first of 10 heats. 3 swimmers. Big start there from lane 4. This is Muravij, Khan in 5, and Jonga of Gambia in lane number 4.
Yeah, no entry times in heat 1, but the racing will be tight, as you can see so far. Just 0.2 separates them at the 25-metre mark. It might be the swimmer in lane 4, Muravej, that's stroking out in front. There he is with about a body-length lead. So they come under the wall and under the flags into the finish, 26.59. He takes that one out. The 17-year-old gets a heat win here at the World Championships. So a great experience for the teenager to get a race under his belt and win that race. There he is in the middle, first off the blocks. A little slow from Jonga there in the pink suit to get off the blocks and into the water, but through that second 25, it was Muravej, Aryan Muravej, touching the wall first.
Just confirm that result before it's posted, as we'll have a look at the call room there. Swimmers yet to be called upon. As I mentioned, we have a big program here. 11 heats of this event. In fact, 10. Make it 10 heats now. 26.59, the winning time in the first. Heat 2. Comoros and Togo represented in 4 and 5. Well, it was to be 4 and 5, but Mohammed is a non-starter there now. And look at the start here from lane number 6, and that is Angel of Romania. He is going to dominate this.
Yeah, 10.7 at the 25, so we might be looking at around 22 seconds. The Romanian, we are seeing a resurgence in Romanian swimmer led by David Popovic. And here in the 50 fly, 23.85 for Andre Messia Angel, the 24-year-old. No entry time, but he throws down a strong performance to take out heat 2. 23.8, wins that heat by a significant margin, 4 seconds in fact, ahead of Sakurai, who touched in second from lane number 2. But a powerful first 25 metres. It is good and new to see those 25-metre split times, as that's we don't normally see that at an international level, to see actually how fast they're going through that first lap, and that'll be exciting to watch through the latter heats.
Yes, 23.85, the winning time by, what, 4.5 seconds, in fact. Big, big margin. Heat 1. Now we move along to the next of our heats. Aidan Carroll and Philippe Gomez. 4 and 5 for Gibraltar and Malawi. Away they go. Big start there. Lane number 2, Noka at Papua New Guinea, flying off the blocks.
Yeah, full field here in Heat 3, and he was quick off the blocks, the swimmer from Papua New Guinea, but he doesn't lead at the turn. That's there below him, Rabua from Fiji with a strong first 25 metres, but they're pretty bunched up here in Heat 3. Aidan Carroll starting to move through as well, and it might be Carroll with his head in front. Oh, a bit short on the touch. He does win the heat. That was barely a butterfly stroke at the finish. 25.53 for Aidan Carroll. That margin in the end, just 0.07 of a second. That replay will look good. He's laughing about that finish. Carroll there in the pink suit, I believe. No, that was Gomes. Above him in that suit. Here's the finish. Coming down, he should have glided at this point. He takes a little, almost like a breaststroke at the finish. Still gets the touch ahead of Rabua. And a personal best time as well. So I would assume that touch is legal. We're still waiting for the result to come up. Here it is again. Coming in, he's about a head in front. He's got a glide from this point, but he takes a baby stroke. The arms don't even get over the water. I'm not sure. I really don't know what the rule is in that situation, if the butterfly arms do need to clear the water, or if they just need to be a simultaneous touch.
You wouldn't normally feel there's any advantage to go from butterfly to breaststroke, would you? That's the way it almost looked. He had a big video review, understandably. A big smile on his face, and he was probably smiling about as much as the time. He was smiling, I would imagine, about that must have looked a bit silly.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, let's check these results. They've taken a little while over them, and we'll see if Aidan Carroll has taken this out or not.
Into the finish here, he glides, he basically switches to a breaststroke stroke at the finish, and
he's disqualified. Well, that's bad luck. He's disqualified. That's the result of Heat 3. Moving on now quickly to heat number 4 here, and it is Jackson of Ghana in lane number 4. Alongside him in 5 at Sengosi of Uganda.
And they're coming down to the second 25. They're bunched up here in lane 4. It might be coming over Abiko Jackson. He gets touched out at the wall by Sengonzi from Uganda. He gets the heat win there in heat 4, 23.79. A great finish from Sengonzi. And again, nothing separates these swimmers, even in the early heats. When it comes down to that last stroke, the timing of the finish is more important than anything else. Sengonzi in the white cap on a full stroke. Jackson in the black cap takes that short stroke and gets touched out by 8/100ths of a second.
Yeah, tight finish there. 23.79, 23.87 and 24.29. Just 0.05 of a second away was 4th. Heat 5 now. As we work our way through a big program, the men's 50 metres butterfly. Muller of Spain in lane 4. Jimmy of South Africa. Lane number 5.
Lewis Burris in 3 from Great Britain. He might be fast in this, the freestyle specialist, trying his hand at the 50 butterfly.
Burris in the red cap there, alongside in lane 4, Muller of Spain and Jimmy of South Africa. And going well in lane 6, it's Ostrowski of Poland.
Oh, powerful start from Ostrovsky just glided into that wall, and it's Cherudi from Israel that got his hands first at the 25, but another good turn there from Ostrovsky. He's got his head in front. The all-important finish, he glides, but still holds on and takes out heat number 5 here. Karol Ostrovsky, 22.71. It's the fastest time of the morning so far. He didn't quite nail that finish, but was able to still get his hands on the wall first. Flying home, Molayanes from Spain. And there he is in that blue suit off the dive, powerful underwater, coming into the wall. That's his last stroke, gliding, and only hits the wall there. So could probably clean that up a little bit. 22.71, it should challenge for a semi-final position. But a lot of swimmers getting under the 23-second mark there in heat 5. 3 of them, in fact, as we just wait for the results to become official.
The stands for the spectators, they're going to enjoy the action for the finals sessions in the evening. There's the result of heat 5, 22.71 for Karol Ostrovsky.
Heat 6.
Now the second half of the heats here. Bulgaria represented in lane 4 with Joseph Miladinov. Miljenovic of Croatia in lane number 5.
Take your marks.
And a good start there in lane 3. Santos of Brazil, Gabriel Santos, the best of the starts as he goes down. He's going to lead at the halfway.
Yeah, he's not the quickest Brazilian, Santos, that we'll see in this event here this morning, but he does lead at the 25, 10.28. Powerful, coming through in that red cap now. That's Miljenic from Croatia. It's coming into the wall. It will be Santos. No, touchdown down the bottom. Jan Sefel from the Czech Republic. Flying home there. I didn't see that on the wall. 22.84. He will win heat number 6. And just so tight on these finishes now. The first four or five swimmers separated by 0.2 of a second. So coming into the wall now, that red cap of Miljenic was looking strong, but Sefel with a powerful last few strokes on the far right of screen. Takes a sneaky win there out of lane 8.
32 years of age, Jan Sefel, and still going strong. 22.84, the winning time in heat 6. Michael Andrew of the United States in lane 4 here as we move on to heat 7. Alberto Lozano of Spain in lane 5.
Take your marks.
Andrew, we always see him busy at World Championships, and he's starting his program now, but down there in lane number 6, Cameron Gray of New Zealand going nicely.
Yeah, still the unseeded heats. We've got Andrew and Andrei Govrov, the long course world record holder, at the bottom of screen as well. But Andrew in that white cap from the United States, he will be busy this week in Melbourne, and he gets his week started with a strong 22.34 swim here in the 50 fly. That was a long course entry time that he had. He will challenge for medals come the finals here, and he's no doubt the fastest swimmer so far this morning in these 50 butterfly heats. Not so quick through the first 25, but able to sustain his speed across the top of the water so well for the full 50 metres. That's what makes him a great sprinter across all 4 strokes. And he claps himself there. First one out of the way this morning for Andrew. We'll see him race multiple events.
Andrew taking it out, 22.34 from Gray and Govorov. Hoff in 4th placing, the Swede. So now we have heat number 8 here, the first of the seeded heats. Chad Leclos in 5, but Dylan Carter has swept all before him on the FINA World Cup circuit. He's in lane 4. Representing Trinidad and Tobago, who's won all 3 events. And Florent Manadou, one to watch for in lane 7, the Frenchman.
Take your marks.
What can Carter do here? Yes, in sensational form, in the backstroke, the free stroke, freestyle, and also the butterfly in the World Cup.
Yeah, he's been untouchable through the World Cup circuit across October and November. We'll see if he can carry that form here to Melbourne. Manadou with a strong first 25, but he gets beat off the wall. Here comes the Clo, but Carter, just those last few strokes, asserting dominance. 22-1-1, convincingly wins the first seeded heat here, and he will carry that strong form to Melbourne at the World Championships. It's Carter ahead of Leclos and Ilya Karun from Canada touching third there, 22-32. That's coming up as a world junior record. We'll have to double check that.
Excellent swim there by Karun. Carter, though, as we spoke about, he was untouchable on the FINA World Cup circuit. 3 events in Berlin, Toronto, Indianapolis, and he just won all of those strokes. Yes, a world junior record set there by Karun. Carter first home from Chad Leclos and then Karun with that world junior record time, 22-32. And now, Nicolas Santos, the 42-year-old. He's the world record holder, the defending champion. Lane 4 in Heat 9. We watch for Santos, an incredible athlete. Lane 4, Thomas Chekon, a finalist in Budapest in 5.
Yeah, Chekon scratched out of the 100 backstroke this morning to focus on this race. So we'll see what the Italian can do here. It's Castagni leading at the 25, the powerhouse Dutch sprinter, but a great turn from Ponti in 2. Ponti's going to take this out by half a body length and challenges the 22-second mark. 22-1 for Noah Ponti. A really strong performance, better suited to the longer distances, but throwing his hand up for a podium finish in the 50 fly. It's the swimmers at the top of the pool, Ponti and Simon Boucher, taking out Heat 9, first and second, and down the middle, Chekon well back in about 5th, and Santos just not quite there after the start, but we have seen him progress through heat semis and finals. He normally saves his best for the final. But Ponti, great first upswim here in Melbourne and a personal best, and no doubt a Swiss record as well.
Yeah, sensational swim there by Ponti, 22.01. Boucher Santos, well, he should make it through to the top 16. There won't be a problem there, but he's got a bit of improvement that is required here. The last of the heats, Sebastian Szabo and Matteo Revolta in 4 and 5. Australia represented in lane 1 through Matthew Temple.
Take your marks.
Big start there by Szabo in lane 4. He was 4th in Abu Dhabi 12 months ago. Revolta in 5 was the bronze medalist.
Oh, Revolta's missed that start a little bit. There he is in the second of the yellow lanes, about half a body length behind. Szabo is the world record holder, the equal world record holder, but it gets outturned there by Tiong from Singapore. It might be Tiong coming down to the finish. He does take it out. The swimmer from Singapore takes out the 10th and final heat this morning, matching 22.01s from what we saw from Ponti in the previous, and they will qualify equal fastest qualifier for the semi-finals tonight. So Tsenwei Tiong with a strong turn there, explosive through those first few strokes off the breakout, and takes out the 10th heat just slightly ahead of Szabo, the world record holder, 22.07 for Szabo. Revolta back in 5th, but that was a really close finish in that final heat this morning.
And Bobby Hurley, for someone coaching in Singapore at the moment, you'd be very happy with that result.
Yeah, good result for the Singapore Swimming Association. We saw Tiong qualify for the World Championship final in the long course pool, and he's backed that up in Melbourne here.
With a winning time of 22.01. 22.07 for Szabo and 22.19 for Kush. Temple fourth. So the semi-final phase looking like this, with that sensational performance by Ponti and Tong. So joint fastest times, they're 22.01. Revolta making it through. There's going to be a swim-off. Florent Manadou with a time 22.53. Nicolas Santos makes it through, but position 14. So Manadou and also Costagny, a swim-off there to determine who will go through in the last spot.
Yeah, half a second separating the first 16. Well, the first 17 qualifiers this morning with a tied 16th there for Manadou and Costagny. To be honest, I'd probably be surprised if Florent Manadou wanted to do the swim off and put his hand up for that. The 50 fly these days is a bit of a warm-up swim for him before the 50 freestyle, and he will be busy across the short distance relays, the men's and the mixed relays for the French team. So that swim off will be scheduled at the conclusion of the heat session, but we'll see if Manadou wants to line up again. And really tightly packed men's 50 fly heats this morning. All the big names just getting through. Santos with some improvement to come for the semis tonight.
Now we move along to the women's 200 metres individual medley, where Katinka Hoshu is the world record holder. She set that in Doha back in 2014. 3 swimmers in the first of 5 heats. Cook Islands, also Hong Kong and Macau represented here. So those swimmers there, Kirsten Fisher-Masters of the Cook Islands, Hui Ching Yung of Hong Kong, and Cheng of Macau. So butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke and freestyle in the 200.
Yeah, the first of 5 heats here. 2 laps of each stroke, 50 metres of each stroke to make up the 200 metre individual medley. And it is Hui Ching Yung from Hong Kong striding out nicely in the butterfly, 28.19. A quick first 50 metre split for the 15-year-old. And again, as we keep mentioning, the younger teenage swimmers getting valuable experience. And if you've only just come on to World Championship swimming in the last 12 months or so, they have been given 3 opportunities in the last 12 months across Abu Dhabi, Budapest this past summer for the long course version, and now Melbourne here for these short course World Championships, and still another 2 World Championships to come in the next 14 months, with Fukuoka Long Course Worlds next summer and the Doha World Championships early in 2024 in the lead up to the Paris Olympics. So what a time to be a 15, 16, 17-year-old getting all this valuable international experience in the lead up to the Paris Olympics.
Yes, it's gone from a famine, a COVID famine, to a feast, a post-COVID feast for swimming, because so many of these catch-up events and now so many opportunities. And for these 16 and 17-year-olds, as you mentioned, Bobby, they've got a lot of them happening all at once. And as far as Melbourne's concerned as well, we've got these short course championships, the Commonwealth Games in 26 will be here, and ultimately the Olympic Games in Brisbane in 2032. So a lot happening in Australia as well. As we get back to the action here, Yung it is of Hong Kong, who is stroking away. She's got just under 25 to swim now. She's comfortably in front. Cheng in second from Macau, and Fisher-Masters of the Cook Islands in third placing. But it's going to be Yung, this young swimmer, this 15-year-old. She goes in and takes out the first of the heats. 2:19.41. Cheng second, Fisher-Masters third.
Great swim there from Yung. Swims 2 seconds under her entry time, so a really good performance here in Melbourne to start her week with a positive swim. Takes out the first heat and really looks strong across all 4 strokes. So even at just 15 years of age, no real weakness there in any of the strokes. So she'll just look to improve on that, get more experience, get stronger and mature, and that training really paying off with that great performance this morning.
The margin there, 4.2 seconds between first and second, heat one. The starters in the second of the heats, Laura Lattinen of Finland and Rebecca Mida of South Africa, 4 and 5. Flanked there by Guy and Chen. Guy, she is a non-starter, leaving lane 3 vacant there, but Lattinen, the 19-year-old who's got an entry time 2:11.76, our swimmer in lane number 4, and going with her in the early stages as they go through the first 25, Rebecca Mina, South Africa, 2:12.01 for her.
Yeah, this is heat 2. We have the 3 seeded heats still to come, so the top 24 swimmers still to come. And judging on these entry times, something around 2:07 will be needed to qualify in the top 8 and make the finals of this event tonight. But it is Rebecca Mida from South Africa swimming in lane 5 with an early lead through that butterfly leg. Her entry time, as you mentioned, 2:12.0 for the 20-year-old. She's a training partner of Matthew Sates, also a South African, obviously, and an IM and freestyle specialist. So a really good group of the next generation of South African swimmers coming through the ranks now, led by Sates and Rebecca Mida as she turns in 59.3. So really strong opening 100 here for Mida.
This Sates, you mentioned, he's one of the young stars on the male circuit, and we will see him in action here. In fact, I think we're going to see him in the next event as well, the 200 IM for men. So that is good news. But back to this race, and Mida it is who leads as she is just about to complete her breaststroke. And this is a handy little lead from the breaststroke into the freestyle. Mida it is in front. Lattinen in second. In fact, Simmet is in second, just in front of Lattinen.
Yeah, good race for second, but Mida's got a 2-second lead and looks to be pulling away through this freestyle leg. She's on track to go well under 2 minutes 10, under 2:10. And again, the further she gets under 2:10, we'll see if she can challenge for a top 8 spot. So Mida powering home now with that big kick. She'll try and put her head down across these last few strokes into the finish. She does that and touches the wall. 2:07.47. Great swim this morning for the 20-year-old from South Africa. That'll put her name in the mix for the final. The swimmers in the next few heats, they'll see that and know that that's the benchmark. 4.5 seconds quicker than her entry time. And that's a world-class performance from Rebecca Mida.
And it was Sim from Singapore who was back there in second. As we have another look at Mida going through this breaststroke. And of course, any lead from the breaststroke into the freestyle is with some sort of interest as well, because you can really stretch that lead with a quicker stroke. Mida, 2:07.47, taking out heat 2. Alex Walsh, Yui Ohashi, and Kaylee McEwen, lanes 3, 4 and 5. Bonnet of France in 6. In our next heat. So some big names here in heat number 3. Alex Walsh in lane 3 was the winner in Budapest at the Long Course World Championships. Ohashi was the winner in Tokyo of the 2 and the 400. So we've got the Olympic champion, the world champion, Long Course, and Kaylee McEwen as well.
Yeah, well, Ohashi, the double Olympic champion in the IM events in Tokyo last year. McEwen, the double Olympic champion in the backstroke events from the Olympics. And then Alex Walsh had a great performance in Budapest to take the long course world title ahead of McEwen, and Ohashi didn't really fire a shot this year in Budapest. So we'll see what sort of form she brings to Melbourne. But Alex Walsh, the American, she really doesn't have a weak stroke at all because she's a world-class breaststroker and she swims on the freestyle relays for the United States team as well. So just well-rounded across all 4 strokes. And McEwen moving through in her stronger backstroke leg there. Just 0.1 behind Walsh at the halfway split. It's quicker than what we saw from Meter in the previous heat. But the breaststroke, Kaylin McEwen is strong at the breaststroke, but not as strong as Alex Walsh. So we'll see what this 50 metres can show.
Yes, McEwen's doing a great job there against the breaststroke star there in Walsh. We thought this is where the race could have really changed complexions, but Walsh is hanging onto the lead. She's extended. They turned at the halfway almost level, so she has extended the lead as you would expect. And it's going to come down to this freestyle race. Walsh it is, McEwen in second, and then Bonnet in third.
Yeah, they're coming down that freestyle leg. Walsh and McEwen well ahead. They'll know that. They just need to be top 2 in this heat and post a reasonably fast time to make it through. This is McEwen's second swim of the morning already, and she's breathing away from Walsh. Walsh will be able to see it. McEwen not really easing up here. She wants to take out this heat. There's still 2 heats to go. As they come down to the touch, it will be Walsh. Alex Walsh just ahead of McEwen. 2:05.94 for Walsh, 2:06.0 for McEwen. And Charlotte Bonnet finishing strongly to place third there. Ohashi back in fourth, and she'll be in danger of missing the final, will the Olympic champion.
Yes, that is perhaps the surprise of the race. Ohashi, the Olympic champion in the 2 and the 400, and fourth in the first of the seeded heats, may not be good enough.
Well, she's also already sitting 5th because of that strong swim we saw from Rebecca Meter in heat 2. So Ohashi in big danger, but in heat 3 it's Walsh, McEwen and Bonnet.
So heat 4 of 5 now. And Sydney Pickram of Canada alongside her teammate there, Mary Sophie Harvey. 4 and 5. Pickram is the defending champion. So Pickram and Harvey, the 2 Canadians in 4 and 5, and they're flanked by the 2 Italians there, Cottoncelli and Franceschi.
Yeah, they're off pretty even off the start through this first 50 butterfly. It's Emily Fast from Sweden touching first at the 25. But the swimmers in the middle of the pool, the Canadians, Pickram and Harvey, really strong through the breast and freestyle legs of this IM. So watch for them to come late. Pickram is the world champion, as you mentioned. And Harvey featured in a lot of finals last year in Abu Dhabi, but yet to find herself on an individual podium. But going out fast, that's Kim Seong from Korea with a big lead of over a second already through the first 75 meters. So Kim having a strong swim up at the top of screen, but a long way to go in this one.
Yes, she's about to turn into the breaststroke, and she's got a lead of a good body length there. In terms of the times, it's 0.8 of a second, almost a full second. Kim taking it out. Now, can they close the gap? Starting to come through in lane number 4, it's Pickram, and also there in lane 6, it's Franceschi of Italy.
Yeah, the 2 Italians and the 2 Canadians in the middle of the pool. They're chasing down Kim in lane 2. Pickram with a lot of experience. She will be aware through her peripheral vision about where the swimmers are, Kim and Franceschi. Franceschi looks like she's taken over across the breaststroke, but Sydney Pickram in the middle of the pool, she's got the best view. She'll know exactly where she is across this last 50 metres of freestyle.
Franceschi it is who leads as they're in the freestyle now and going through, throwing out the challenges. Sydney Pickram, she might have almost taken over the lead. Still there, Kim in lane 2. Kim is back in third, so there's nothing between Franceschi and Pickram at the last turn, and Pickram is trying to edge away now. Kim has kicked again. This is a matter of who goes through to the final, of course. Pickram, the defending champion, will go through. She wins it. Second was Franceschi, and then Harvey, the second of the Canadians. Kim was fourth.
Yeah, Mary Sophie Harvey flew home for third, but her teammate Sydney Pickram controls that. 2:07.1. It's not as quick as what we saw from Walsh and McEwen in the previous. And of course, we had a fast swim from Meter in the unseeded heats too, so this top 8 is starting to get really crowded. But Sydney Pickram, that's the finish there. Not much separating them. Kim was at the top of the pool as well. She faded across that last 10 metres.
So 2:07.15 by a tenth of a second. Pickram over Franceschi, and 2:07.41 for third. The final heat now. Kate Douglas, the United States, and Abby Wood of Great Britain in the middle lanes there. Jacobus of Hungary in lane 3, and Steenbergen of the Netherlands is the swimmer there in lane 6. Australia represented by Hardy in 7. So an interesting race between Douglas and Wood in particular, third and fourth respectively in the Tokyo Olympic final.
Yeah, Douglas, also a medalist from Abu Dhabi 12 months ago, so plenty of top-line international experience, and she's a training partner of Alex Walsh, and equally as strong through the butterfly, the breaststroke, and the freestyle. So a really classy short course performer. She splits right on world record pace through the fly. It's Douglas ahead of, that's Marit Steenbergen in lane 6, and Abby Wood. She's a breaststroke specialist, Wood in that red cap, so watch for her to move through across the third 50. But at the moment, it's all Katie Douglas.
Looking very good, Douglas. The red cap in lane number 5 is Abby Wood, so she's clearly in second now. And then Steenbergen and Hardy in the yellow cap down there in lane number 7. But it's all about Douglas as they go through the 100-metre mark. The first 2 legs have elapsed, and now the all-important breaststroke, and she's showing no signs of slowing down.
No, not at all. She would have seen the times posted in the previous 3 heats. She'll know exactly what to do to qualify for the final, but she will want a good lane in that race so that she can challenge the likes of Walsh and Pickram. And she looks good across that breaststroke. Look at that streamline. She glides longer than everybody else in the field, and she's still traveling at a fast speed. Only 1.4 over world record pace, 132.4. This is a great heat swim from Kate Douglas.
Looking very good indeed, and now she's just slowing down. Now she's out in the warm-up pool. As you look at that stroke action there, she is just cruising home. She knows she's done all the hard work, and Kate Douglas is going to win this very comfortably indeed, and post a time good enough to get herself comfortably through to the final. That time is 2:04.37, and that is a championship record. A championship record time for Douglas, and she took the foot off the accelerator a long time out, long way out.
Yeah, it's a comfortable looking 2:04.3. The screen's saying championship record, but the world record from Hoshu was swam at the Doha World Champs in 2014, so can't see how that could have been a championship record, but she'll get credit for it nonetheless, 2:04.3. But looking at those splits, she's got plenty of room to move through that back half of the breaststroke and the freestyle leg. She might actually be able to challenge the real championship record and the world record from Katinka Hoshu at 2:01 tonight in the final. So Kate Douglas has brought great form down here to Melbourne for the World Championships.
Yes, it could be an anomaly in the record system there, as you mentioned. Katinka Hoshu with that time in 2014, a world record. So yes, perhaps it wasn't. Nonetheless, it was a very good swim then from Douglas. And Douglas goes through as the fastest qualifier. 16th fastest Jacobus of Hungary, 2:09.63. But of course the top 8, that is, who go through directly to the final in events from 200 metres upwards. So semi-final stage for the 50s and the 100s.
Yeah, Rebecca Meader, the South African from the unseeded heats, just missing out on that final there, placing 10th overall. So it will be the Americans starting. Favourite tonight, Douglas and Wolf.
149.63 is the world record for the men's 200 individual medley, held by the champion American Ryan Lochte. 5 heats ahead of us here. Mateus of Paraguay, O'Hara of Zimbabwe, in 4 and 5. So away we go in the first of these heats for the men, with Bhutan, the Maldives, Paraguay, Zimbabwe, Macau and India all represented here. Mateus it is in lane number 4, who is leading at the moment from Liam O'Hara. Down there also, I said he was leading. In fact, Sridhar in lane 7 has got off to a flying start, this Indian. What a good first leg that is by him. So he leads it. In second place, it's Lynn of Macau as they work their way up into the backstroke here, but he continues to go here. He doesn't have an entry time. He's a 22-year-old, just turned 22, and he's surprising everyone. Often without an entry time, you're placed in an outside lane in early heats, and you can cause a bit of a surprise, and that's what's happening here with Sridhar of India. Continues to lead, and look at that margin, almost 2.5 seconds. In second place, Mateus, and in third place, it's Lynn, then it's O'Hara. In this important breaststroke, it's still the blue cap down there. They wouldn't have seen him a little bit in the first part of the race. I'm sure they know he's there now, though, Sridhar, and they can just watch him because he's still leading by about 1.5 lengths on lane 4. Mateus of Paraguay, he's going to take a big lead into the freestyle leg here. He's starting to shorten that stroke a little, but he gets to the wall and now he can get the freestyle going. He's got a long straight arm action there. Now the gap is starting to tighten up a little. Mateus is coming home nicely in lane 4, and then it's Lynn and O'Hara. But as he turns now at the 175, it's still a handy lead of just over a second. It's going to be tight. He's getting very tight here. Sridhar of India. It's been a bold front-running performance. He can't quite hang on. Mateus it is who takes it out. Sridhar second and Lynn in third place, followed then by O'Hara. Wow. You can't take anything away from the winner, but boy, that was a game, courageous swim by Sridhar in lane number 7. Here's our winner, though, from Paraguay, Mateo Mateus. Had an entry time of 2:03.31, and you could tell that Sridhar was getting very tired in the second half of the race. His stroke was shortening, and it was Mateus who was able to time his run and get over the top of him.
There's the finish. Mateus does touch him out on the freestyle leg. He stormed home from well back across that last 50 metres. But the results show Mateus disqualified.
Well, Sridhar it is. You could almost say he deserved a win, and well, with that disqualification, with that courageous swim, he's come away with the win. Heat 2. Grobbelaar of New Zealand in 4. Mikkelsons of Latvia in lane 5. Heat 2. And Grobbelaar, the New Zealander, with an entry time 1:57.77 in lane number 4, but quickest out may have been lane 1 there, and that was Kirisong of Thailand.
Yeah, the swim's in heat 2. 1:57 entry time for Grobbelaar. Luan Grobbelaar from New Zealand. So he's the quickest entrant. We'll see what he can do through the back half of this race, but going out fast there Here's the swimmer from Thailand, 24.7 through the butterfly split. And he's starting to get reeled in now from Kwan below him in lane 2. So the swimmer's at the top of the screen, having a really strong first 100 metres. And Kwan, there he is taking over this race, almost with a full body length lead now. So backstroke, no doubt one of his stronger strokes. His entry time is 2:01.7. He'll be looking to try and get under that 2-minute mark. And we move through into the breaststroke split, the slowest of the stroke, but arguably the most important across this individual medley.
So as we look across the pool there, it's Godillo who does lead it. Not too much as we look across to lane number 4 there, Grobbelaar. And coming through in 3 and 2, Nagy and Kwan, as they're about to turn into the final leg here. The New Zealander takes over the lead from Nagy and Godillo.
Yeah, strong breaststroke split there from Grobbelaar. We knew he would come through at some point in this race, and he made his move. And also going with him is Richard Nagy through this last 25 metres of freestyle. Just 0.2 separates them. Nagy's got a little bit stronger kick right now. He looks to be moving slightly at a faster pace as they come down to the finish. Nagy's going to get there. 157.1, gets the touch over Grobbelaar, and Wang in 3rd place, the swimmer from Chinese Taipei. Really good battle there from Nagy and Grobbelaar in the middle of the pool. And they push themselves to both get personal best times in Heat 2.
Right to the wire there with Nagy over Grobbelaar. 157.13 for Nagy and Grobbelaar 157.38. Wang 3rd. That was Heat 2. The starters in Heat 3, Visayas of Greece and Rossetti of Italy, 4 and 5. We see a few swimmers here with their second swims of the session. Rossetti, Acevedo of Canada in lane 6. Here's Rossetti, the Italian. Even start here. Visayas of Greece, a 28-year-old, 151.15 is his entry time. Rossetti at 151.54. He's in lane 5 as they complete the first 25.
Yeah, Rossetti's the bronze medalist in this event from Abu Dhabi 12 months ago, and he was the world champion in the 200 fly there as well. So a great butterfly specialist, just touching there ahead of, or behind Javier Acevedo from Canada. We saw Acevedo swim the 100 backstroke heats this morning. So a busy schedule for the Canadian all-rounder, but already with a good backstroke. First 25 of backstroke is Visayas. The Greek swimmer takes over here. He's the European champion in this event, but he's yet to win an individual medal at the World Championship level. And he turns now with about a half-second lead, 2:66. So it's a strong opening 100. But this breaststroke leg, this will really sort them out. Ogata from Japan, a strong breaststroker, starting to make his move at the top of the yellow lanes in that black cap. But there's about 5 in a row here.
Yes, Ogata is stalking. So too is Rossetti. Rossetti there in lane number 5. It's Visayas who leads, or doesn't lead now though, because it's Colmati of Spain across in lane number 2. This is going to be a terrific freestyle leg. It's Rossetti in front, just in front of Colmati.
Oh, the depth in this event is amazing because we've still got 2 seeded heats to go, and these guys are on pace to go about 152 or 153 point low. So a real battle brewing. The places are important. They want to be first or second in this heat to give themselves a chance, and Visayas is fading. Rossetti looks like he might be finishing this the stronger, and it will be Rossetti ahead of Ogata, and Visayas really struggled that last 25 to touch 3rd. The times are good, 152.9 for Rossetti, matching 153.0s for second and third. Strong heat swim here. That'll really fire up the swimmers still to come in heats 4 and 5 to alert them that they're going to need a really world-class swim this morning to just qualify for the final, as there's plenty of big names still to come. This is the finish for Sayas in the middle. Just fading there, those last couple of strokes. Couldn't get his arms over the water as quick as the others.
So Rossetti taking it out, and he might yet make the final and have a chance to take a medal, just as he did 12 months ago. Agata was second. Tom Dean, an interesting swimmer, lane 1 here. The British Olympic champion in the 200 free. Seto and Sates. Sates is the world junior record holder in 5. Big Tom Dean, lane 1.
How you feel, Mark?
And he dwelt on the blocks there a touch, Dean. It's Seto, the defending champion in lane number 4. And as I mentioned, the world record holder, Sates, he won the FINA World Cup event in Berlin. He's been in good form.
Oh, he's been in fantastic form in the short course version of the sport, Sates, across the individual medley and the freestyle events. Dean, as you mentioned, in that red cap at the top of screen, he'll move through in the breast and the freestyle legs through the back half of this. He did get a medal in this event at the Commonwealth Games, so he's starting to announce himself as a world-class IMer. But in the middle of the field, Sates under world record split through the first 50. Here comes Seto in the middle of the pool there. He's won this event about 4 or 5 times at this level, and the 400 IM as well. He's the world record holder in that event. But through the second lap of the backstroke, it's going to be the Brazilian touching first, Leonardo Colhes Santos, with a strong leg. But watch for Seto here in the breaststroke. He's actually the #1 ranked swimmer in the world in the 200 breaststroke coming into these championships. So it's a much improved event and a much improved stroke for Seto, where he could actually challenge for the world record in the 200 breast, which would just be amazing. He's also the former world record holder in the 200 fly. And look at the distance he's putting on the field now. Seto stroking out. He's got about a body length over Sates and Colhes Santos. Dean with plenty of work to come at the top of screen.
Yes, he's an experienced swimmer. He's got a terrific international record as Seto, 28 years of age, the defending champion, and he's asserting his authority now through the 175. Sates in second place, and then the Brazilian in lane number 3, Colhes Santos. But, gee, he's timed it beautifully, Seto, very composed. And he goes in and takes heat number 4 here in 151.76. Sates second, and Colhes Santos in third.
Wow, that's such a strong heat swim here for Seto. 151.7 in the morning. He's really brought his best form here to Melbourne, and that breaststroke split was impressive. It was a, what's that, 30 point, couldn't be 30.2, must be wrong there. An amazing breaststroke split nonetheless from Seto to stretch out his lead, and he will look to defend the 2 individual medley titles that he won in Abu Dhabi and that 400 IM he won in Budapest earlier this year.
Very impressive from the Japanese champion, Seto, taking out heat 4, 151.76. And the last of the heats. And, gee, we talk about the big names here. We've got the 2 Americans in 4 and 5, Shane Casas and Carson Foster. Casas, just dominant on the World Cup circuit. He won all the 100 and the 200 events in the FINA World Cup races. Two Australians here for the home crowd to cheer on. That's Lisi Bomb in lane number 2 and Clyde Lewis in 6. But Cass, as I mentioned, in lane 4, and Foster. Foster was the bronze medalist in Budapest and Abu Dhabi. He's in 5.
Yeah, Carson Foster's the new name on everyone's lips in the United States when it comes to these individual medley events. Had a great breakout performance in Abu Dhabi last year to get medals behind Seto in this race, and then did the same in the long course version. But then we just saw this explosion of performances from Shane Cassis, long course and short course, better known as a backstroker. He was the world champion in the short course 100 back 12 months ago, but not racing that event here in Melbourne to focus on this 200 IM, which he scared that world record from Ryan Lochte on the World Cup circuit earlier this year. So Foster actually takes over Cassis in that backstroke leg. See how much they want to push the rest of this swim. Clyde Lewis there in the gold cap of Australia with a strong first 100 metres or so. But the Americans in the middle of the pool, Cassis and Foster, starting to pull away.
Yes, the two Americans there in 4 and 5, although it's lane 5 who does lead. That's Carson Foster, a 21-year-old. As I mentioned, he was the silver medalist in Budapest, also in this event in Abu Dhabi 12 months ago, and he leads. Cassis there in second place at the moment. Finlay Knox, the Canadian, who was 4th in the Commonwealth Games, he's moved up into 3rd, but as they have got just on 25 to swim now, and it's still in lane number 5, Carson Foster, who leads. Good battle for 2nd and 3rd. At the moment, Cass is trying to hold off Knox, and Lewis is not too far away. But this has been a fine performance by Carson Foster. 151.89, taking it out. Second home was Knox, so that was a really good freestyle leg by the Canadian, and Cassis in 3rd.
Yeah, classy performance from Foster. Matches Seto's 151 through that last heat, and just so smooth coming in and out of those turns, which are obviously so important in the short course meters event, and coming from the US college system in the short course yards, which is an even shorter pool than what we have here in Melbourne. The Americans are just so skillful, and they don't come much better than Carson Foster. So this is going to be a tight race tonight. Cassis faded to 3rd there, didn't put his best effort in this morning. He can't be discounted tonight, but he'll only qualify about 5th fastest for the final. Here they are in Heat 5, Foster, Finlay Knox finishing strong, Cassis and Clyde Lewis also producing a strong 152.8, which should be good enough to qualify.
Well, let's have a look at who does qualify then. Seto is the quickest of them, then Foster, then Knox, Sates, Cassis, Lewis, Rossetti and Ogata. So they make it through. Tom Dean doesn't make it through. So a big name missing out. Should be an excellent final coming up.
Yeah, it's really fast. 153.0 just to qualify for the final. And boy, that's going to be quick tonight. No one's ever broken 149 except for Ryan Lochte. That world record at 149.63. Cassis shaded 150 earlier this year at the World Cup circuit, but was a 152 this morning, so he'll need to drop some time to be competitive with Foster and Seto in that final tonight. A straight final of the men's 200 IM.
Now we've got the first of our relays here, the women's 4x100 metres freestyle. 2 heats ahead of us. United States in lane 4 to be led off by Erica Brown. And away they go. So it's Brown leading off the United States, the Netherlands in lane 5 with Bush, and a good start down there for Hong Kong by Si. Japan with Shirai in lane 6.
Yeah, a lot of new names and new faces in this women's relay, especially through the heats this morning, but having a good swim there in lane 5. That's Kim Bush from the Netherlands. She's got a lot of relay experience. She's got an early lead over Erica Brown of the United States. Brown there staying underwater longer. She's got that straight arm freestyle stroke that the United States women have really adopted to follow on from the success that their men have had with that power-based sprint freestyle stroke. But the heats, the relay swimmers get really busy at these short course world championships with heats in the, not only the the single genders, men's and women's relays, but also the mixed relays, and now the mixed 4x50 metre relays. So a lot of relay action to come in Melbourne, starting with this women's 4x100.
United States leading China and the Netherlands. The United States with Gemmell swimming the second leg, so her second swim of the day. Liu of China and Van Roon of the Netherlands. Little separating the top three at the moment. And back there in fourth place in lane number 6, it would be Japan with Igarashi.
Yeah, this is a great chance for Erin Gemmell, just turned 18, to get her second swim of the morning and get some much-needed experience to help her for future World Championships and Olympics. So she's just getting eaten up a little bit now from Liu there from China. Only 16 is Liu swimming that second leg from China. So the Chinese team having a great performance so far. Handing over now, that's Natalie Hines for the United States. That's Wu Qingfen from China into the water, and the Netherlands not too far away. Backstroke specialist Kira Toussaint holding down third position.
So the United States leading China. The Netherlands did drop back to fourth. They've edged their way up into third place thanks to Toussaint now, as they go with another 50 to swim before the next of the changeovers there. They've completed 250. It's still the United States with Natalie Hines in the water.
Yeah, good turn there from Toussaint. The Netherlands just taking over second position. That long, smooth stroke from Natalie Hines. She's out in front at the moment. Hines, the 29-year-old veteran of this United States team. She's going to hang on to this lead and hand it over to Tori Husk, who was an absolute star last year in Abu Dhabi with multiple individual and relay medals. Husk with about a body length lead over the Netherlands. That's Marit Steenbergen in the water again here in Melbourne for swim number 2. And Cheng from China is going to anchor that Chinese team home. The top three are well out in front. Japan holding down fourth, and with only 2 heats of this women's relay, we should see the top 4 from heat 1 and the top 4 from heat 2 qualify for the final.
So up and down the pool one final time, and it's the United States with Tori Husk anchoring their quartet. And she's in front, but gee, the Netherlands are making it pretty tight with Steenbergen almost on level terms at the moment. Back in third place, it's China, and Japan have dropped off. They are back in fourth. Now the Netherlands are going to take it out. They work their way to the line through Steenbergen. The United States takes second, and in third place it was China. So you tend to think Tori Husk has got a little bit more up her sleeve. If that was a final, I think she may have gone a little quicker there. Steenbergen, though, getting the win for the Netherlands in that time, 3:30.42.
Yeah, definitely. Really swimming within herself there was Tori Husk. She's got a busy schedule this week. We saw her in the 50 fly earlier. She just anchors that relay home. She will know her position is guaranteed for the final tonight. I'm sure the United States coaches have informed her of that. And the Netherlands team, they keep producing strong female swimmers for these relays after the retirement of Renomi Kromowidjojo. They still come out and win the first heat here, the women's 4x100 freestyle. That was Steenbergen with a strong anchor leg. She's going to become a real feature of these Dutch relay teams. And the United States, well, they should see Claire Curzon come into this one tonight, and maybe a few other names as well. They'll try and exchange and rest as many swimmers as they can, especially as this week progresses.
So the Netherlands from the United States and China, 1, 2 and 3, and heat 1 of 2. And here is the lineup for the second. Canada and Sweden in the middle lanes, flanked by Australia and Great Britain. Also there Peru, Brazil and Slovakia.
Emma McKeon will anchor home this Australian team to get her first race of the World Championships. Australia swimming out in lane 3.
McKeon, such a star at the Tokyo Olympics. A record-breaking performance by Emma McKeon.
There she is on screen.
your marks.
Not a great start there by McKeon. Canada and Sweden in 4 and 5. Canada led off by Rebecca Smith, Juvenek of Sweden, Meg Harris, Australia, and Anna Hopkin in lane 6 for Great Britain.
Yeah, Hopkin quick off the blocks, and she's the 50-metre specialist. She's got that distinct straight arm stroke. Only a fairly short swimmer on land, so generally that straight arm stroke just gives you a little bit more length, and she's got a powerful kick behind her as well. So she's trying to get the most out of every single stroke. Meg Harris there, leading off the Australian team in lane 3. She's in second position right now, and they're just marginally ahead of Canada and Sweden in the middle of the pool. So Great Britain, they've got an early lead here. Hopkins will hand off to Isabella Hindley, a new name on this British team. It's almost tied at the first 100-metre split. Meg Harris gets the touch, 52-1 for Australia. Maddie Wilson in the water now, the veteran of these Australian women's relay teams. She'll hand off to Leah Neal once her swim is done before McKeon anchors them home. So a really strong quartet for Australia. And Molly O'Callaghan will look to come into that team for the final tonight, should they qualify safely enough.
So Wilson it is for Australia, who leads. Still to come for Australia, Neal and McKeon. McKeon swimming the anchor leg, and it's Australia who lead. And in second place at the moment, Great Britain in lane 6, and then across to Canada and Sweden. But it's a pretty good lead as far as Australia's concerned as they go down to the halfway mark. Leah Neal getting in the water now, and her second swim of the morning. In second place, Canada. Canada with Harvey, and then Great Britain with Harris.
Yeah, 51-4 split there from Maddie Wilson. Really strong swim. Neal in the water, as you mentioned, after her 400 freestyle heat earlier this morning. Second position now, that's Mary Sophie Harvey swimming the third leg for Canada, and a good race brewing there between Sweden and Great Britain. So the Australian team with about a 2 body length lead. They'll know they just need some safe relay changeovers and solid performances this morning. They don't need to risk anything. Leah Neal, great over the 200, and now finding herself on these 100-metre relays, a valuable member of the Australian team. She hands over to Emma McKeon.
So McKeon's in the water now. The Australians with such a strong history in this event. Of course, you think of Kate Campbell and Bronte Campbell. You think of Molly O'Callaghan, and they could have 2 very strong teams. Shayna Jack's another one. They're not swimming in this event at the moment. It's the Australians with Harris, Wilson, Neal and McKeon. McKeon's got just under 50 to swim now. She leads it from the Canadian there, Taylor Ruck, swimming the anchor leg. Great Britain with Abby Wood, and Sweden with Michelle Coleman. And the Australians still holding on to this very handy lead with 25 to swim. Heat 2. The 4x1 freestyle relay, and they're going to take it out pretty comfortably indeed. They will stop the clock here in a time of 3:28.58. Australia winning it. Canada home in second, followed by Sweden and Great Britain.
Yeah, comfortable swim there for McKeon and the whole Australian team this morning to touch the wall first in Heat 2 and post the fastest time of the morning so far. Actually 2 seconds outside that world record, so well and truly within striking distance of that mark that the Netherlands team posted in 2014 through 26.5. I'd have to say with Molly O'Callaghan to come in and squeezing a bit more out of Wilson and McKeon, that world record's in big danger tonight. As you mentioned, the Australian women's relays, they've won this relay at the last 3 Olympics. The Australian team didn't compete at the Abu Dhabi Short Course World Championships last year, so they'll get a chance to take the short course world title tonight and, as I mentioned, challenge that world record. And the results are official. Australia ahead of Canada, Sweden and Great Britain should move through to the final as well.
So this is the lineup for the final then. Australia, the fastest qualifiers. They will have lane 4, the Netherlands in 5, Canada in 3, the United States in 6. All the big names making it through to the final. And the weather is closing in, so the folks in the stands are displaying some bravery at the moment as we move along to the men's 4x100 metre freestyle relay. We have 2 heats here. The United States in lane 4, Brazil in 5, flanked there by Australia and Spain. I mentioned the weather. It is ordinary. Summer in Australia.
It's changed in about the last 5 minutes. The women's relay raced in sunshine and the men are going to race in torrential rain, it seems. We're getting soaked up here in the commentary box as well.
We sure are.
The ultimate summer showdown. Australia and the United States behind the blocks. Got Thomas Neal leading off the Australian team. Southam, Sean Champion, Matt Temple also competing. And we'll see the debut of David Curtis leading off the United States ahead of Kibler, Julian and Kieran Smith. Really strong teams for these superstar nations this morning.
Well, these swimmers will be getting wet very quickly. Those in the stands are already getting wet. That's what they say about Melbourne, 4 seasons in 1 day. Could almost write a song about it, I reckon.
How you doing, Mark?
Okay, we're underway. The first of 2 heats. Men's 4x1 freestyle relay, so it's Chinese Taipei, and then it's Hong Kong, Australia, the United States, Brazil, Spain and New Zealand, and the USA being led off by David Curtis, Gabriel Santos of Brazil, and Thomas Neal of Australia.
Yeah, you can never discount the Brazilian team. They love this sprint relay, the 4x50s and the 4x100 free. Gabriel Santos in the water with a strong opening 50. That's the swimmer from Spain as well, Tichelis Montebalan with a lead as well. So a new name emerging here, the 22-year-old with a strong lead-off performance. Tommy Neal from Australia in lane 3 finishing off strongly, and Curtis, the American, he's well behind. That's a terrible lead-off there from the American team. 46.7 lead-off for Spain. They're about a body length in front. I wouldn't have guessed that coming into the heat. So it's Spain ahead of Australia and Brazil.
Luis Dominguez of Spain swimming this second leg, and then in second place you go across to Australia with Flynn Southam in the water, the United States with Kibler, Brazil with Carrera. It's still Spain who lead.
Yeah, Kibler's made up a lot of ground through that first 75 there in the white cap. Not only do you have to swim from behind, but you've got to swim through the big waves that are produced in these sprint freestyle relays. So America are 4th, but they've pulled up nicely. Spain falling back to the field, and Correa with a big swim for Brazil, touching in second. So some really interesting racing here in Heat 1. In the water now, the yellow cap, that's Sean Champion making his Australian team debut. Trenton Julian above him. That's Pajito from Brazil, who looks to have taken over the lead, and Molayanis from Spain. The Spanish team's having a great swim here.
Yes, Brazil who lead. In second place, it's still Spain. United States, Australia's dropped back to 4. Of course, time's all important here. It's a matter of top 8 going through to the final. This is a strong heat. And at the moment, it continues in lane number 6 to be Spain with Molayanis. He's got Cole Marti on the blocks. In he goes now. Spain leading Brazil.
Yeah, good changeover there from Cole Marti as well. The margin was only about 0.1, but he got off the blocks well. And Spajari in the water now for Brazil, who's pulled him in through that first 25 metres. A great long course freestyle is Pedro Spajari. He has anchored this team successfully in the past as well. And Kieran Smith from the United States just pulling up level as well. The big middle distance freestyler. Smith's going to challenge Lajari through this last 50, and Australia have moved up into third with Matt Temple in the water.
So they're about to bring it home now, and this is going to be a thrilling finish. In lane number 5, it's Brazil. Brazil, the United States challenging, Australia challenging as well. The Australians finishing hard, it's Brazil though. Brazil who take it out. United States second, Australia third, and Spain in 4th place in great racing in the first heat of the men's 4x1 freestyle relay.
Exciting racing that was there. There's Sviari, 46.4 on that anchor. Big sprint from the United States, and they needed it from Kieran Smith to get them into a safe position after disappointing lead-off from Curtis there. 48.0, just not up to standard when it comes to short course racing at this level. So there's the finish now, 3 teams in it, only a stroke separating them. Spain were brave as well, they finished 4th. And again, with only 2 heats, we should, as a general rule, see the top 4 from heat 1 and the top 4 from heat 2 move through to the final.
There's Brazil, the United States, good racing. Here's heat 2. Italy and the Netherlands, flanked by China and Canada. South Africa have lane 7. You'll see Matthew Sates in the water there.
Heat 2 coming out, yeah, as you mentioned. Sates is back from South Africa in 7. Some strong teams on paper with Italy, Netherlands, Canada and Japan. Japan leading off Matsumoto and Nakamura. Great 100 freestylers. Alessandro Moresi, world champion from Abu Dhabi. He will lead the Italian team off.
So the Italians, Moresi, Doplano, Frigo and Conti Bonin. Here's the team from Japan, Matsumoto, Nakamura, Kawani and Mano. They're in lane 2. Just looking down, China listed to start in 3. I don't think they will be there somehow. Doesn't look like it. We'll find out in a moment. So away we go. Yes, no China in lane 3, but Italy and the Netherlands in 4 and 5. Italy led off by Alessandro Moresi, the Netherlands by Stan Pienberg. Bulgaria in 1, Japan in 2, and Canada in 6, and the South Africans in lane 7.
Yeah, that's the big, tall stroke of Alessandro Moresi leading them off. He won the world title in this race individually in Abu Dhabi, 45.5, and he anchored the Italian team to many successful relays, freestyle relays and medley relays as well. So he's become a real big name on the Italian swim team, and he's got a big lead here, opening up heat 2. Well, look at that time, 46.0. That's a good little warm-up swim for Moresi before his week starts to heat up in Melbourne. And the Italians now in the water. That's Doplano, again with about a 2 body length lead. Karun, fresh after breaking that world junior record in the 50 fly. He's swimming the second leg for Canada. And Kenzo Simmons in the water for the Netherlands.
Yeah, so it's Italy, the Netherlands, and then Canada, 1, 2 and 3. Across we go to Japan, and then Bulgaria and South Africa. Still at the tail of the field with the 6 teams here. As we get down towards the halfway point here. So the Italians, Doplano is finishing his leg. Frigo goes into the water now. The Italians in front, the Netherlands in second place. Corbu gets his opportunity. And in third place, it would be the Canadians with Yuri Kissel.
Yeah, Frigo with some clean water, well out in front now. This is a nice, safe position for the Italian team, and they'll actually hand off to the 20-year-old Paolo Contibonin to anchor, to give him a bit of international experience. He's a new name, and he'll hit the water at this level for the first time. So the Italians with a commanding lead. Casper Corbeau holding down second position for the Netherlands. He's a breaststroke specialist, finding himself on this freestyle relay. And Canada, Yuri Kissel fighting hard to hold down third. Japan not too far away as well.
We're into the final leg now. Italy from the Netherlands and Canada, Japan and Bulgaria, then South Africa, with the Italians, as Bobby Hurley mentioned, with the 20-year-old anchoring this relay, Paolo Contibonin, at his first World Championships, and he's out with a very handy lead as he's got 50 to swim now. In second place as they turn, it's still the Netherlands and then Canada.
Yeah, big lead for Contibonin, and he looks good in there. Great swim so far, and doesn't feel any better than this, jumping in after your teammates have done the hard work with a big, almost 8-metre lead or so on the rest of the field. The Italians 3:04.46. Great swim, good race for second. The Netherlands just touch out Canada and Japan. The top four there should move safely through to the final. And the Italians only 1.4 seconds off the world record in the heats. Thomas Chekon should come into that finals team tonight, and they potentially could bring in Zaziri if he's here in Melbourne, or another swimmer as well. But no doubt that team can get significantly quicker, and they might be able to give that world record a shake from the United States back in 2018.
Italy, 3:04.46 from the Netherlands, just 4 seconds away, 3:08.58, and Canada in third. So let's have a look at the teams that go through to the final. Italy, Brazil, USA, Australia, Spain, the Netherlands, Canada, Japan, all making it through. 3:09.25, good enough to make it. New Zealand missing out with 3:10.97. Hope you're enjoying the action here. Day one of the 16th FINA World Championships. We have some swim-offs. First, the women's 50 metres butterfly. Olshana and Cromwell Jojo. Big names in international swimming. We've got 3 involved in this swim-off at the moment. The 50 fly, Shrissard, Klenker and Kohler. So this is to determine the semi-final lineup, the 50 fly. So away they go. Shrissard in lane number 1 from lane number 3, I should say, from Thailand. Klenker, Slovenia in 4, and Kohler in 5 of Germany.
Yeah, big start from Shrissard there in the pink cap. She will lead early, not much in it, just 0.1 of a second ahead of Klenker, and a great turn as well, so really using that underwater kick. She's got to time this finish. Here comes lane 4, onto the touch, almost together. It will be Shrissard. She gets her hands on the wall first as she swims quicker than what she swam this morning. 25.78, wins the swim off, and she wins the first reserve position for the semi-finals tonight. So that was a race to determine 17th spot in case there is a withdrawal from one of the semi-finalists. Then Janira Shrissard will get to swim tonight, but she's pumped with that another personal best time, 2 in a day in this women's 50-metre butterfly.
Here's Shrissard taking it out from Klenker and Kohler. Margin there, 7/100ths of a second separating first and second. Now we've got another swim off here. 50 metres butterfly. We saw Nicholas Santos making it through in position 14 through to the semi-finals, the 42-year-old from Brazil. So he has a chance to swim to try to get into the final and then contest the medals. So this is
a swim off the 16th. So the winner of this will swim the semi-finals tonight. Manadou in 4, Castagne in 5.
Manadou and Castagne, little between them as they're off the blocks there. And Manadou, this experienced swimmer in lane number 4, he's just marginally in front. He's in front of Castagne as they turn to bring it home now. And it is stroke for stroke. The clock couldn't separate them in the heats, and I don't know if it will here as well. Castagne maybe. Oh, it was Manadou. It was Manadou over Castagne. The margin 4/100ths of a second. Florent Manadou gets his way into the semi-finals. The Frenchman. Whew.
Yeah, they both swim quicker than their heats. 22.5 this morning to tie for 16th. You see Manadou off the block, straight into streamline. Gets all his power from his lower body. They were quick through to 25 metres. And Manadou just had to adjust his finish to make sure he got his hands on a full stroke, and he did that. There it is. It almost looks like Castagne's head is in front, but Manadou got his hands on the wall, his fingernails on the wall first to win the swim-off by 4/100ths of a second.
22.31 and 22.35. Little between them, but enough to separate who goes through to the semis and who doesn't. Now let's hope we don't have a swim-off in the men's 1500 metres freestyle. Don't think it's happened. We've threatened it a few times over the years. We've got 2 heats. These are the 2 slowest heats of the 1500 metres freestyle. The fastest heat on seedings will be this evening, and that effectively is the final. 3 swimmers here. Ivan Hart, Jan Herkog. It's only 2 now. Okay, we're down to 2. Okay, so Victor Johansson of Sweden is not taking part after all. It means that we're down to Ivan Hart and Jan Herkog. The Austrian with the fastest entry time here in lane number 4 of 14.56.68. Hart's entry time 16.45.33. So if we can read too much into that, Bobby, and sometimes the entry times aren't all that, don't give us a good indication, because often there's not a short course time to go by. But boy, there's a lot between them in these times. Herkog over Hart.
Yeah, Herkog from Austria, already with a big lead. He's going to swim this one by himself and not get locked into a race with Ivan Hart. So, as you mentioned, his entry time 14.56, under 15 minutes, which is a great barrier to break for any distance swimmer at any age. Herkog at 24 years of age, turning in 55.81. So he'll try and set up that rhythm. You can see not much kick behind him. He's just going to drag those legs along and kick very, very lightly, and just let the arms do the work, as this is a long race, 60 laps, and we'll see if he can hold sub 1 minute splits, which should get him a time of under 15 minutes, or if that is his long course time, let's see how far under 15 minutes he can get. So Jan Herkog there. Those underwater lap counters are going to come in handy, Mike, with 60 laps. So we can see on the screen how many to go, but now the swimmers get to see it under the water. Oh, seems like they are using old school lap counters above the water as well.
Short course swimming, 25-metre swimming, is almost regarded as a different sport than the long course, because so much depends upon what is done underwater. The starts, the turns, and obviously the push off the walls and so on. But 60% of the race can be underwater in the shorter events. And I know Kyle Chalmers has spoken about that often. He said that when he had his shoulder injury, he was concentrating on his dolphin kick, and that's given him so much strength with his underwater work. So he can swim 60% of his races in the 50 and maybe the 100 underwater. They're not going to spend that much time underwater in a 1500. So tell me the difference in the approach in the 1500 metres.
In the longer distance events, it's more about getting in and out of those turns without wasting or not using too much energy. You see here with Hercog, he's not doing any underwater kicks off the wall because those legs just really suck up the oxygen, but he does get in a really good streamlined position and holds and glides that streamline until he gets past those red markers on the lane rope. So he's still getting over 5 meters off the wall without using any energy, essentially. And then he breathes on that first stroke. So he's really only in the absence of oxygen for about 2 or 2.5 seconds on each wall. But what that means is he's not stroking either for that 5 meters too. So that's where you get the distinct time changes in distance freestyle from long course to short course, is because overall they're taking much less strokes. They're taking probably 10% less strokes per 50 meters. So if you were taking 30 strokes per lap in the long course pool, you're probably only taking 27 strokes per lap in the short course pool. So that energy efficiency is just so much better when you've got these turns coming up basically every 14 seconds for a swimmer like Hercog, or every almost 13 seconds for the world record holder Florian Walbrook, and others that are challenging that 14-minute mark, which we saw him break that world record in Abu Dhabi last year.
It's interesting to watch the times, the turns, I should say, with these swimmers in the 1500 metres, and they are staying underwater. Certainly Hercog is pushing off the wall and staying underwater, probably just inside that 5 metre mark. So if it was a much shorter race, he could be doing a lot more work underwater. But as we watch him come up, he comes up just inside the red lines, which indicates 5 metres to go. There he goes now, Hercog. He's passing his rival there in Ivan Hart. 41 laps to go, so he's almost a third of the way through his race, and in just a moment he'll be passing Hart. There goes Hart now, so it's a big lead.
Yeah, this is the 500 metre turn now, 4:53.0, so he's on track to go well under 15 minutes, and after that 55 first 100 metres, he's been holding 59s and 1 minute point low, so he's right on pace, as I'm sure he's practiced so much at training, and he's got a race strategy with his coach. He'll try and hold 59 and 1 minute for as long as he can, and then try and sprint home again that last 100 metres, and try and get under his entry time of 14:56. And looking forward to this event for tonight. There's one more heat this morning that'll feature Kim Woo Min and Charlie Clark from the United States in there with a long course time. Stuart Swinburne making his Australian team debut. So the swimmers in the next heat, they're all around the 14:40 second mark. But for the final tonight, which is a straight final for the top 8 fastest entry times, qualifiers, entrants, and starting in the middle of the pool is the one and only Gregorio Paltrineri, who placed 4th in Abu Dhabi last year. He was the former world record holder before Florian Walbrook broke it in that iconic swim in Abu Dhabi. And Romanchuk and Hafnui also not here. So the medalists from Abu Dhabi not here. Paltrineri, the long course world champion from Budapest a few months ago. What a great history-making swim that was. The second fastest swim in history. But he does struggle in the short course because his turns and his skills are so poor. And he should be challenged tonight by David Johnston. I'm really excited by this new up-and-coming American distance swimmer, David Johnston. We saw him actually race at the Australian Nationals back in August, and he broke the American record in the 800 freestyle. And we'll see if he can push Paltrineri in that final.
Well, now we see Hercog passing Hart, so he's effectively double lapped him. So he's well out in front here. Hercog in lane number 4, the Austrian, in front of Hart. Yes, the 1,500 metres, we've always had a fascination in this part of the world for the 1,500 metres. Australia has produced so many terrific swimmers over the years. Grant Hackett, relatively recently, before that Kieran Perkins, there was Glenn Houseman, there was Daniel Kowalski, and you go back to Stephen Holland and Murray Rose and a whole lot of them historically. But at the moment, while Australia is not at the top, it is a really well-contested event on the international scene, isn't it? There's Poltroneri, there's Welbrock, there's Romanchuk, there's Bobby Fink, and David Johnson as well. But that top 4 I mentioned in particular, Bobby Fink is probably the biggest star of them all. There's some sensationally close and quick times recorded in the 1,500 on the international level.
Well, it takes multiple swimmers to make it a rival, well, 2 swimmers to make it a rivalry, but now it's almost an all-out war where anyone can win on any given day. So back in that 2019 final in Korea, it was an all-European final. No Australians, no Asians, no Americans in that race. And then, 2 years later, Bobby Fink takes the 800 and the 1,500 in Tokyo at the Olympics in barnstorming fashion with that huge last 50-metre sprint that he has. So he did that in Budapest, won the 800, and Paltroneri figured out a way to beat him, and that's by qualifying an outside lane and sprint from the start and try and not let Fink be in that race, because if he's in a race, no one can match his last 50 or last 100 metres. So the Europeans have sort of found that formula, and it just makes these distance events so interesting. And David Johnston, I'm sure, is going to be a new name arriving on the scene in the next few years. And there's another swimmer, Sam Short, in Australia, medalist at the Commonwealth Games. He's ever improving and putting in a lot of work up in Queensland to, especially in the long course format, really be the next Australian name across that 800 and 1,500 metre freestyle. We will see Matt Corden race here in the 400 and the 800, but he's given up that longer event to focus on the shorter ones.
22 laps to go as we get back to the race here. Hercog and Hart, and well, they'll got the lap counters at the far end of the pool. That's where Hercog is travelling at the moment. He can see that he's got 21 to go, and David Hart on the other hand, or Ivan Hart I should say, on the other hand, has still got 23, so he's a couple of laps, about 2.5 laps behind. I think the other thing that's made the 1,500 even more interesting over the last decade or so is the advent of the open water swim program at the World Championships. You get a lot of the 1,500 metre swimmers who are also competing in the 5K, the 10K, even the 25K races. So we get to see so much more of Poltroneri and Welbrock and Romanchuk in particular swimming in the open water, whether it's the rivers, the lakes, the canals, or whatever it might be, and the pool as well. The 1,500 almost becomes the sprint for them.
Yeah, it is. Normally, we used to see in the pool the 1,500 as an extension of the better 400-metre swimmers. And, everything's changed since the 10K open water event became an Olympic event. And we saw Osama Maluli win gold in that. I think it was 2012. So it just sort of proved to everybody that the pool swimmers can compete in the open water, where it used to be classed as a different sport, and it's almost like a free-for-all, and you get bashed up a little bit when you're swimming in the packs and you don't have your own lane. But Maluli sort of broke down those barriers, and then we see Welbrock and Paltroneri now take open water swimming to the next level, because they have so much more speed. They don't have speed when it comes to the pool compared to the sprinters, but they have so much speed compared to the open water swimmers. And if they get out in front, they're just too difficult to chase down. So Romanchuk swimming in the open water as well. And now with the 800 metre as an Olympic event, it just gives distance swimmers so much more range and so much more selection to specialise in different events, but also swim them all as a group.
So this has been a dominant performance by Jan Hercog of Austria. He goes up to get 13 laps to go now. And
his cap's
Hart
come
has
off.
still got a bit to go. Yes, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of time he can record.
Yeah, his cap actually came off about 400 metres ago. It was fished out of the water from one of the officials, and he's doing a good job. He's got long hair. Lucky he's tied it up, because it would be difficult swimming this far with the hairs just coming across his goggles now, and you can see he's got a little bit of a man bun there that's exposed. So all the swimmers, unless you've got a shaved head, they all race in a swimming cap just to be a little bit more streamlined in the water and keep their hair in check. So a good swim nonetheless from Jan Herkog. He's just swimming, averaging a little bit over the 1 minute barrier now. So you can see that time there with 10 laps to go, 12:28. So he's still under 15 minutes, under 15-minute pace. But we'll wait and see if he's got any energy left to bring his legs into it across this last 50 or 100 meters or so and challenge his entry time of 14:56. So he strictly breathes to his left. He can see his coaches there whistling and waving him on across that, on that coach's stand. So every time he swims down that side of the pool and breathes to the left, he will get a good view of the signals and the sounds that they're sending to him. So he's starting to fade a little bit, 30.3 across that 50. But as we mentioned, the countdown is on now, 7 laps to go. There's lap counters above the water, and we did see those lap counters being used yesterday in the test event as an underwater lap counter, but not sure if they're on today. In this first heat, Jan Herkog in 4, starting to lap again. Ivan Hart, the 16-year-old Hart, getting a really good experience. He's got 9 laps to go, 5 for Herkog. And there's his coach there in the red jacket, waving him along. The whole staff from Austria. It becomes a mental battle at this point for the swimmers to try and keep pushing, and the finish line is near. He knows he's going to win the heat, but the time is what he's chasing. The time's what he's been training for, and swimmers always have a smile on their face when they get rewarded from a tough event and swim a personal best. So that time he's chasing is 14:56.
Well, there's good news and bad news here. The good news is that Herkog just saw a sign that said 3 laps to go. And the bad news is that Hart saw a sign that said 7 to go. So there's been a real imbalance in this race. They've seen a bit of each other, and that's because Herkog has been able to pass Hart on so many occasions. 1 lap to go as far as this race leader is concerned. Gee, what an almighty effort it's been. Jan Herkog of Austria, just a few strokes to go now. And he goes in and stops the clock in a time just a tick over 15. How he would have loved to have gone 0.36 of a second quicker, 3.7. He was close. Still a bit of work to do for Ivan Hart.
Yeah, just over 15 minutes. It always seems to be a barrier. And just when his cap came off at about the 1,000-metre mark, 900 or 1,000-metre mark, he started to slow down a little bit, and that would have played with his head as well, just having the race not go perfectly for yourself and your cap falling off. And as you can see, he does have long hair for a swimmer too. So we wait for Hart to finish his last 50 metres. He gets the bell, and he sustained a similar sort of pace at his own standard across the whole race so far. His entry time is 16:45, and he's going to be well and truly under that here. So good experience, and for Hart, the 16-year-old should be rewarded with a personal best as he comes down to the finish. And his time 16:07.94, so some 38 seconds faster than his entry.
Yes, well done, Ivan Hart. Well done, Jan Herkog. Swimming against each other in this first heat of the 1,500 metres for men. Just the 2 slowest heats as they're known in the heats, and then the fastest heat on the entry times there on the seedings will be this evening to effectively become the final and determine the medals. 00.36 for Hercog. Hart, 16:07.94. And now heat 2. Charlie Clark, the United States. You always worry when you see an American in lane 1. You don't know what to expect. Stuart Swinburne in 2. Kim and Ozaki, Korea and Japan 4 and 5. So away we go. It looks like we've got a scratching there from lane 6. It does mean that Charlie Clark, the American I mentioned, in lane 1. Stuart Swinburne of Australia in 2. Carlos Benito of Spain in lane number 3. Then Kim of Korea and Ozaki, Japan. We skip across lane 6 to Jarvis of Great Britain and Alba in lane 8 of Argentina. I mentioned Charlie Clark, an American in lane 1. It normally means you can spring a surprise, although having said that, he's back in about second last place after the first 75 metres.
Yeah, I don't know much about Clark, but I'm pretty sure that 14:51 that he's entered on is a long course time, so he should be capable of going somewhere in the 14:30s, the mid to low 14:30s, if he can have a good swim here, but he hasn't taken it out aggressively. The Americans do like to really back end these longer distance races and just get into that rhythm early, even if it's slow, and wait for everybody else to slow down. But so far in the middle of the pool, Kim Woo Min entered 14:44. We saw him have a great 400 freestyle in Budapest long course earlier this year, and he's really announced himself as a strong middle distance swimmer. He's looking to extend himself to the longer event. And Daniel Jervis from Great Britain in that red cap, this is his main event, this is his specialist, and pretty sure he won the Commonwealth Games this year in a 14:48, his long course time. So these two swimmers out in front now definitely capable of swimming around 14:30, maybe even under 14:30, which will be a strong showing this morning in the heats, especially when looking at the entry times for tonight's final. There's only 4 swimmers entered under 14:30, and really only 2 really strong swimmers that we know can produce a good swim tonight. So potentially if these guys get under 14:30, they could be in a medal winning position, because results from this morning and the final heat tonight will be combined to produce the top 3 medal winners.
Yeah. While that does happen, it is normally unusual that from the slowest heat they figure in the overall placings. It's normally dominated by those swimmers. But as you said, it's not an especially deep, fastest heat field we've got coming up.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but 2010 in Dubai, did Osama Maluli win from an early heat?
Wasn't
Can
there.
you remember that? You weren't there?
No, that was one of the few I wasn't at. So that was in Dubai, yeah.
I feel like that may have happened, but I wasn't there either. But I remember watching and reading about it. But back to the action. Kim Woo Min in lane 4 is got a lot of early speed because he does specialise in those 200 and 400 metre races. So he's one of the faster qualifiers in the 400 free, which I think is tomorrow. That's going to be a good showdown with Kieran Smith, Matthew Sates featuring in that one, Danis Rapsis as well. And Popovic is slated to race the 400 free heats tomorrow, so we'll see the Romanian teenager get his first taste of action here in Melbourne. And the 200 freestyle is scheduled for Sunday, so plenty of rest before that 200 freestyle occurs on the last day of competition.
Coming up to the 400 metre mark here, and Kim Woo Min of Korea continues to lead in second place. It's the British swimmer here, Daniel Jervis. He's swimming out of lane number 7. We've got Garish Benito. He's the youngest in the field here, the 18-year-old in lane number 3. And he is up there in the top leading group at the moment. Across there in lane number 1, Charlie Clark is holding down 4th place at the moment, just in front of Swinburne of Australia. But they're starting to spread out just a little bit, and Kim Woo Min is a clear-cut leader over Daniel Jervis. So they're coming up now to towards the 475-metre mark. And as they complete this lap, they'll be a third of the way through the 1,500 metres.
Yeah, Kim with really smooth turns, and I'm unsure how this last 500 will go for Kim, so it wouldn't surprise me if the field come back to him. 4:44 at the 1/3 split, so he's not exactly going to even split this race. Jervis is having a good swim as well. We know he's proven over this distance. And as we spoke about, that white cap of Charlie Clark moving into 3rd spot now, he's actually splitting the same time as Kim Woo Min now on each 25. Clark with the quickest 25 there. So you can see the American just building through the race. That lead is right on 10 metres. We'll see how long Kim can hold this lead for. So there he is in the black cap. Just got a consistent rhythm with that breathing every 2s to his right with a constant kick as well. So Kim and Jervis really using their legs, and he's able to again streamline past that 5-metre red lane rope without even doing any underwater kicks. But it looks like those arms are starting to get a little bit heavy for Kim. There he is underwater, no underwater kicks, but able to hold his streamline really well. Jervis trying to make a move. You can see him every time he breathes to his right. So we give him something to chase and something to be accountable for, to try and continually take distance off Kim. And as we look at those 25-metre splits that are coming up, Charlie Clark again with the quickest 25-metre split by about 0.1 of a second. So he's taking 0.1 or 0.2 each lap off the lead 2, and you can see how much Clark is extending away from the competitors nearby him. That lead, there's Clark at the top of screen. It's right on 10 metres again. So Kim maintaining his speed so far, averaging about 59 low per 100 metres. So the two on screen, they're well and truly going to go 14:30, and they'll be looking to crack 14:30, I think.
And stroke by stroke, or lap by lap, Jervis is just closing the gap on Kim. Well, it's now, we'll get an idea as they turn with 31 laps to go. So it is now a margin of, 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds between Kim and Jervis. And we keep our eyes also on Charlie Clark, who's 6 seconds off the leader at the moment. But Kim has led from the outset. It's been dominated by this pair, Kim and Jervis. But as the further the race goes along, the more that gap is closing. As I mentioned, up at this far end of the pool, it was 1.52 seconds last time, and it is now, well, about the same, 1.55. So no ground was made up over that last 50 as far as Jervis is concerned, and Charlie Clark remains back there in 3rd place. In 4th, it would be Alba, and then you'd go back to Swinburne and Garash.
Yeah, Jervis taking a bit of ground off him. That lead is 1.4 seconds now, so Kim starting to come back to the field. Charlie Clark moving through, as we predicted as well. So it's Kim at 1.3 ahead of Jervis, and only 5 seconds back to Clark. So Clark moving through, 29 zeros every 50 metres for Clark. He's taking 0.2, 0.3 of a second off per lap. Now he's really made a move as they approach the 900-metre mark.
Oh yes, to the naked eye, this gap is closing between 1st and 2nd, Kim and Jervis, and it is now 1.13 seconds. So it is closing. Clark still within striking distance. He's got under 5 seconds behind Kim now. So they're the clear-cut 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Kim in lane number 4, Jervis in 7, closing in on the leader, and Clark in lane number 1. After that, probably in 4th place could be Swinburne, just in front of Alba.
Yeah, Kim is really going to hang tough here. After they get to the 1,000-metre mark, that's 2/3 of the race. Then mentally, you know, it's a countdown towards the finish. So Jervis might be taking over here. It's been a really strong performance so far. He will lead, 50 to go before they hit that 1,000-metre mark. And he's holding a really strong pace as well is Daniel Jervis. And Clark, that leads only 3.3 seconds now. So we did predict this. We'll see if Clark can come through, but he is moving the quickest of the top 3 swimmers from lane 1. Kim, it still looks like he's swimming the same, but you can just see his head positions come up, the legs have dropped off, he's getting more and more fatigued as this race goes on. Jervis just put 1.5 seconds on Kim across that 50 metres. So Jervis is flying, and this will feel good to just take over the race at the 1,000 and still have more energy to give. He's swam this event multiple times at this level, and he's really going to challenge that 14:30 second mark now.
Yes, he's got 450 metres to go, and Jervis has got stronger and stronger as this race has gone on. And he was just chipping away at that lead, and then all of a sudden, I think it was twofold. I think Kim tired at the same time as Jervis really put his foot down, and the lead changed in the blink of an eye. Jervis in front, Kim, and now Charlie Clark has gone up and taken second over Kim. So Clark remains the danger. Jervis is still looking strong. He's got now 16 laps to go, and the margin between the leader and the second place getter Clark is down to about 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Clark has accelerated, but so has Jervis. So you can see how quickly they've just pulled that ground off Kim, the shorter distance specialist, but now they're matching at their 25-metre splits. So Clark's having a really good swim, but he's not moving quicker than Daniel Jervis all the way on the other side of the pool, and it'll be really hard for him to gauge just how big that lead is right now. But as they come up to the 11:75, they've got just over 300 metres to go. They won't want to wait for that last 100 metres before they sprint. You can see just a bit more aggressive on that stroke is Jervis. He really drives that left hand in to breathe, turn his head and breathe, spend as much time breathing as he can without it interrupting the rhythm of his stroke. He's got plenty of legs, 2 little underwater kicks there off each turn, and comes up with a big 6-beat kick. So his legs are super fit, as are Charlie Clark. You can see him at the top of screen. They're both moving at 1.59 metres per second. So it's just showing that at this point in the race, they're splitting exactly the same. It would have been great if they were next to each other, but at the moment, Clark's going to have to try and look across 6 lanes of the pool and try and chase down this lead from Daniel Jervis.
Yes, they've got just on 200 metres to go there, and Jervis is not letting Clark get any closer. It's out to close to 4 seconds, that margin, so Clark's doing his level best to close that margin, but Jervis has responded. At the moment, he's breathing to his right, but as he goes down the far end of the pool, he just had a quick look across to his left then. He's every now and again creeping across towards Clark as he's got now 8 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm really interested in his time right now, because if he can get under 14:30, it could threaten for a medal out of the early heats, which, as we said, is highly unusual, but there's really only 2 established swimmers in that final tonight, and only 4 that have entry times under 14:30. So his last 150 will be important. He'll know that he's having a good swim. He can see his coaches waving him on at the side of the pool. So we'll see how much speed he's got left across this last 100. So this next split will be important, but he's increased that lead again, as you mentioned, over Clark. It's sitting at 3.6 seconds, and Jervis looks like he's got a bit more to give across these last 5 laps.
As Clark has done his level best to try to close that gap. He has been able to close it, but he's got no closer than 3.5 seconds. Now Jervis, to the naked eye, Clark looks to be going a little faster now. He's got it down to 3.3, so he's taking a fraction of a second off again. But has he got enough time left? Surely not. There's only 75 metres to go now, and Daniel Jervis is out by 3.12. So Clark is finishing hard. There's no doubt about that, but he's not going to have enough metres left to get over the top of Jervis as they get the bell. Jervis leading from Clark.
Yeah, Clark's really changed his stroke. He's gone into an all-out sprint now, so he's got plenty left in the tank. but there's only 25 to go. He's not going to catch the leader, Daniel Jervis. He needs to swim about 27 seconds here, Jervis, to get under 14:30. He's going to be right on that mark as they come down to the finish in Heat 2. What's it going to be? 14:30.4. 14:30.4. It's a personal best time. It's well under his entry time, as we mentioned. That long course swim, and Clark with a great, well-timed race to touch in second, 14:33.9. He absolutely flew home that last part of the race and executes a good swim out of the early heats. Kim held on for third as well. Swinburne in fourth.
Excellent performance there by Great Britain's Daniel Jervis, 26-year-old. 14:30, he came in with an entry time 14:48. And he's going to be watching with great interest the last heat, the fastest heat this evening. The first night of finals action here at the 16th FINA World Championships. A lot to look forward to in, what, round about not much more than 5 hours from now. Jervis winning Heat 2. The margin in the end was around 3.5 seconds over Clark and Kim, who led early, and Swinburne was fourth. So as it stands, Jervis, Clark, Kim, Swinburne, nothing has really changed there, although Hercog finds himself in the top 8 there with that 15:00 time.
Yeah, exciting final tonight. Still to come with Palcineri and David Johnston, the fastest 2 entries. Damien Joly, French teammate Logan Fontaine will swim tonight. Takeda from Japan, Christensen, El Kamash, and Fei from China will compete in the fastest heat of the men's 1500 freestyle.
So people are packing up and preparing for another session here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, a host venue for the 16th FINA World Championships. Great venue, and it'll be even better if the sun comes out, which is expected to do later in the week. For the moment, though, it's a matter of rug up and try to keep dry. Most unusual summer.
And highlights from Heat 1 of the first morning session here at the World Championships. Lani Pallister qualified safely through to the final in the women's 400 freestyle, but the fastest qualifier, in fact, was the 18-year-old New Zealander Erica Fairweather. So they'll start in the middle of the pool. The women's 100 backstroke was our next race. Hannah Rosvoll and her teammate Louise Hansen, both the Swedish girls, qualifying safely through to the semi-finals. And it was a world-class swim from Louise Hansen this morning. She'll look to defend her title in that 100-metre backstroke. Speaking of defending titles, a former Olympic champion Ryan Murphy from the United States got his week off to a great start, being the fastest qualifier in the men's 100 backstroke. And in this heat on screen, Apostolos Christou touched the wall just over 50 seconds to be the third qualifier in the men's 100 metres backstroke. Robert Glinter was off to a disappointing start here, failing to qualify for the semi-finals. Well back in that field in a race won by Mora and Irie from Japan. So most of the big names moving through in that men's backstroke. Across the women's 200 individual medley, classy performance from Kate Douglas. Can she challenge the world record tonight from Katinka Hoshu? We'll wait and see, but she's got to win the race first, and she will be challenged from her teammate, the training partner, Alex Walsh, and of course Australia's Kaylee McEwen. In the men's event, Diaceto, the 400 IM world record holder, he'll start favourite and from lane 4 tonight in the 200 IM final, and Carson Foster will get his chance to challenge him for that gold medal after placing in the minors last year in Abu Dhabi.
Yes, it's been a terrific morning, and we've got a lot to look forward to later on today with the first of the final session, 6 finals and semi-finals in 4 events as well. So we'll start with the women's 400 free and we'll work our way through, of course, medal ceremonies along the way as well. The men's 1500 metres, that fastest heat as we've spoken about, and we'll have the 2 relays. The first of the relays there, the women's 4x1 freestyle, followed by the men's 4x1 freestyle. So it is going to be a terrific night. Yes, the first of 6 days of competition here at the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre for the 16th FINA World Championships. I hope you've enjoyed the action. Please join us again later today.